I've had a bunch of problems with my computers. All my tabs closed. I got like 110 of them. So I'm starting fresh here. Let me make sure I have Restream up so I have chat. Hopefully everybody's having a good start to their Monday. Lots going on today. It looks like Justin Trudeau might be stepping down. That seems to be helping the dollar a little bit. I think more importantly, though, incorrect post that I'd made earlier. I think the bill that Donald Trump is trying to get pushed in initially is probably the biggest moving factor today in the U.S. dollar, which has dropped a lot. And we'll take a look at that. But again, we've got rumors of Trudeau stepping down this week, which is a good thing. The Canadian dollar has spiked up a lot based on that. We've got Bitcoin shooting up as predicted. It got above that 98.5 and was able to establish support on it. If we look at it on the 4-hour down below in our little area here, you can see where it back tested a little bit, or at least tried to go back to the 200 moving average and was unable to do that. That is all good stuff for today. Let me see. We got chat up. People are saying Clean Spark's doing all right. I can't tell that because I've got nothing right now. Absolutely nothing to look at because I only have a few base screens. So I'll have to try and pop some of these up as we go. And let me see. I'll just throw up a Clean Spark. Maybe I can push it off to the side here too. So up 3% after being up 14.3 the other day. Seems like a pretty good number. Can't hate that too much. Looks like my Clean Spark's all weird. It's got the weird colors on it. All right, let's go to U.S. economy first. Oh, I hate having to fix all this. How about Mara getting all creative with loaning out the Bitcoin? I actually think loaning out the Bitcoin is a horrible idea. Didn't we just have that problem like a couple of years ago? Didn't we have a problem where we had, rehypothecation of funds with companies like Celsius and Voyager just trying to do all these things with people's money and then ending up not having all the money? And so I don't know if I'd be lending out my Bitcoin. I don't know if the market, I don't know. They probably have it. Probably have it with a vendor that's going to be much more reputable. It's probably okay. But I don't know. I'm just a little gun shy of again, lending out Bitcoin and letting other people touch it. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people had really bad experiences with that fairly recently. Real quick, guys, I'm going to try and get just real quickly in my channel here, I'm going to try and get my other chat up where I normally have it too. Again, everything just got really wonky. But I want to make sure that I have that. It would just make my life, I think, a little bit easier if I can look at that under the admin window. Let's see here. Where's the studio button? Oh, man, when you lose all your stuff, it's just really, really a bummer. It's really a bummer. Let me see there. There's that. Let's go to here. Click this button. There you go. Now I'm happy. Oh, things are back. Do you think Intel is actually on the up? I don't know, man. They just got rid of their CEO. They got a bunch of government dollars coming towards them. Is Trump still going to allow that to happen? I don't know. I don't know what to think about Intel. I think there's other companies that I would trust AMD more. I would trust a lot of things more than I would trust Intel right now. One sec, I'm going to do this too. I'm just going to pop up my heat map over here so I can keep an eye on it. Since there's so much going on today, and I don't have a really good view into it because of losing all my windows. Jesse, what does anybody know about his Virgin? Jesse does not want anybody to know about his Virgin Bitcoin. Well, I just don't. Some of it is Virgin Bitcoin, actually. Some of it I mined. Some of it I mined back in 2017, so some of it is old. But I also just don't I don't know. There's some things I don't talk about what's in my hardware wallet. I think that's pretty much standard. I don't think anybody should do that. I think it's really stupid to talk about it. Yeah, I think it's like the most risky Bitcoin that you have, and where you keep it and how much you keep, probably things you keep to yourself. AMD doing well today. Cool, man. Let's see if I can actually pull up anything and take a look at that. Oh, you know what? I got to do trading economics calendar. I got to get this all. I just got to get everything up. I hate it. Do I have all the countries on here or just mine? Okay, just mine. Good. What do we have today for economic data? 8:45. We have S&P Global Composite and Services. Looks exciting. We got factory orders. Nice. That comes at 9 actually, and then at 9:30 we got the Fed Treasury purchases 6 to 10 years. That actually might be kind of interesting. We'll see if we stick around for that. You're still waiting for an ETH pump? Yeah, ETH is going to be a painful asset to hold, I think, this cycle. Let me just look here. Crypto bubbles. Yeah, if we look at crypto bubbles, the problem with ETH is that Solana has way more decentralized exchange activity. It's got way more fees. It's got like everything is happening on Solana. And then you have XRP that actually still has a bigger market cap than that for no apparent reason. And then you have Ethereum, which has a huge one. So again, what does it have? 438 billion for a market cap, whereas Solana's 104. So Solana is 1/4 the size, a little bit less than that, about 24% of the size, and yet it's way more utilized than Ethereum. So getting Ethereum to pump, oof, that's not an easy thing. Oh, we already have it. We got the required. They bought 1,000 Bitcoin. Okay, that's not bad. That's reasonable. Let's look over here. We'll get a little, we'll get that little sailor. We'll get his little Sailor Monday message. It's about as clockwork as it gets, right, guys? 4 minutes ago, 2,000 likes. Pretty standard stuff. Hey, Shiba Moro, or Maro, thank you very much for joining. Appreciate you, sir. Or lady. Probably a sir. It's pretty much how it works around here. The investing world is like 95% dudes. Alex Garcia, love the green, but I'd rather it be all red and then gap up. Yeah, I don't know. To start off the day, you mean? I mean, the dollar is down significantly, guys. We should probably look at that. The dollar today, it's backtesting support. But again, this is off of a bill that Trump is trying to get pushed through, where we're basically saying, hey, if there's any rhino Republicans or any conservative Republicans that aren't willing to push through this bill to give us an opportunity to lead the way we see fit, then they need to be removed from office. And I agree with that message. But we got the dollar down 1% on the day. Do you consider shorting China? No. I would never short anything where I can't be guaranteed that I would receive the funds. And every Chinese company essentially comes out of the Cayman Islands. So why would you even want to touch them? Just doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense to even be near. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let me bring this back here. Sorry, I'm trying to get my windows back in place. It's so hard. So hard. There we go. Let's put that there. All right, so I'm starting to build out stuff. This is good. All right, let's go over. I want to talk about my bookmarks here. Yeah, I wouldn't. Don't touch. Again, you can't short China because if China falls apart, you can't get the money. You can't get paid. So, or at least there's a chance you can't. So why? SUI or XRP? That's not even a question. It would probably be SUI. XRP is too large. SUI is a fraction of the size. Really easy answer on that one. Let's see here. Dan Niles. We got Dan Niles talking. That's kind of interesting. I might check in on him in a second. So yeah, Andy Constant said, less tariffs leak. Good for stocks, good for steepener, bad for DXY. Again, we're down 1% on the DXY today. Markets reacting sensibly to news. Now the question is whether this is adults in the admin trial, is the adults in the admin trial balloon or one sponsored by Trump. Regardless, it's a trial balloon of some sort. I actually think that it's his because he literally posted that he wanted this thing to go through. So I think it's his. Real quickly, Markets of Mayhem. He had a post on here that I sometimes some people are just perma bears, right? Markets of Mayhem can kind of be that way. Kobayashi's much worse. There's others that are just like notoriously bearish. But he posted here, dollar long positioning is becoming very extended here. Due for a pullback in the near term. This was yesterday, and he was right. And it's back testing right now. I wouldn't get too excited about the dollar, though. Right now, I would like to see it drop further. I would love that. History tells us that after Trump gets elected, or at least that's what happened last time, right? But we only have the one data point, so it's not exactly a trend. But this is a good back test. We need to see it break underneath this 2-year trend right here. This is a lot of years. Years go by really fast in the dollar market. So 2 years of resistance trying to turn into support. We would prefer it not turn into support, but history tells us we can go higher. If you break this thing out a long ways, like maybe even here, the 2-month chart, you could see where we've, there's a pretty decent amount of resistance up in here, like touch points. And again, this is a 2 month, so it doesn't look as clear, but this is an area of what would be resistance. I could probably draw this down though. I should actually probably adjust this right now. Let me just do this. I can already see a better trend line. I just want to see something real quick here. See how well this lines up. All right, let me just look at this. Ooh, that's interesting. That's damn interesting. Okay. Let me just adjust this a little bit more. Sorry, I'm kind of doing this in real time. Sometimes you see patterns while you're looking at them. And this one's an interesting one. So we have this bearish, so we have support and then nothing, just a cascading fall. Resistance, resistance, resistance. So this is the ceiling. So I'm going to adjust that. I'm going to save it. I'm going to get rid of this other one here. Because I think that's the big one. That's the big kahuna that we want to keep an eye on right there. All right, anyway, so the dollar has these periods where it peaks out and then it chops sideways and it doesn't reach new highs for very long periods of time. I kind of showed some of this down before here, where if it goes up 24, I had this theory, right, a long time ago. I said, hey, if it goes up like 24, 25% or more, then long periods of time will go by. And this is true going back to like the 90s. But you can see here where it went up for 24%, and then it chopped for 2,200 days. It went up by 27%, and then it chopped for 400. Well, I don't even think this one's right. 427. No, it is. It's the small range. Then it went up by 32%. Then it chopped for 2,252 days. Then it went up by 26%. It chopped for 1,800 days. Then it went up by 27%. It chopped for 2,072 days. So the trend tells us that it's usually thousands of days of chop after we make a mega move, right? And the interesting thing over here, I haven't looked at this in so long, but it's just something that's kind of been fascinating to me, is that we had a 28% move. And so in theory, based on this move, there's a likelihood of chop for a long period of time. Now let's see what it is. Let's say like 2,000 days. Let's say the lower end of that, 1,800 days. So theoretically, chopping around until the early part of March. So if this holds true and this trend line holds true, then we should have a ceiling on the dollar that can help pull the price back down. And I don't know what this is based on, but I mean, there is somewhat of a historical trend here outside of this one time in the early 90s and 96, 97, right around here, where we had a 27% move and it only chopped for 427. But all the others were at least 1,800 days, if not 2,000. So it's kind of fascinating, again, that we kind of have this potential pattern again where we see this chop, which would be very good for markets. Andrew, can you believe Keir Starmer basically called anyone calling for a full inquiry on gang rapes in the UK the far right? Yeah, I can believe that. That's why he's not going to be around. He's going to go away. I have no doubt of that. All right, let's get back to over here again. We got 8:45. So after market open is when we get more data. We do have some from other countries, so we'll probably take a look at it. But again, just pointing out that the dollar's overextended, and I just showed you a chart that showed that we might have a cap on the dollar around, if we shot up right now, around the 112 range, 111, that would be the ceiling. So that's not too much further than where we are now. I like that. Gives me hope for equities. Just another sign of many. Benny said, hey, Jesse, what's your thoughts on Grab? I don't have a lot. I don't know the product at all. I know it's big in Southeast Asia, and I don't know any more than that. I've heard good and bad things about it from people that have used it. So I don't know. But here I want real quickly. So this is from Tom Lee. It said side note to my column a few weeks ago. So this is Charles Gasparino, or Charlie Gasparino, everybody calls him. He said a few weeks ago I wrote about the other ticking time bomb, Yellen papering the deficit by rolling over short-term debt. And that is a real problem. This year we have $8 trillion, $7 to $8 trillion worth of debt that has to be refinanced, right? Which sucks. And it says it's worth noting that the severity of the debt problem has been masked because Yellen didn't issue 10-year bonds, which would have blown out consumer interest rates. And so what they're saying is the 10-year would actually be 1 to 2 points higher than it is today. So very high, right up in the 7s and 8s. If we were actually where we're supposed to be, but because she was issuing short-dated treasuries, we didn't have that problem. It says, but you can't do that forever. Your costs explode and buyers could balk. The buyers are banks, so I think you can do it for a while. But Basent, or whatever his name is, the replacement for Yellen that's going to be coming in, he does want to do longer-dated treasuries. I don't exactly know when he wants to start that. But this is kind of a ticking time bomb for markets because it could bring down liquidity significantly depending upon how it's handled. So or just bring up risk on top of it. So there's a lot to think about here. But he says you can't do that forever. Your costs explode. He goes, traders will demand much higher rates to issue long-term debt, which will blow out interest rates on credit cards, mortgages, etc. So this is what we don't want to see, right? We want to see rates coming down in the spring, and I think there's still a path towards that. But this is a danger, and Tom Lee's even pointing it out, and Tom's a permabull, so if he's pointing it out, you best pay attention. And again, Michael Howell was talking about this, a lot of people talking about this. It says that means recession or worse. It's this double whammy that Donald Trump and Scott Bessent, face maybe sooner rather than later, depending upon how the bond vigilantes respond. So the bond vigilantes, we've got to get them on board with whatever we're doing, right? It says either way, it's a complete mess left behind by the Biden and Yellen administration. And so when Tom Lee warns you of this, yes, it's a concern. I did say that I believe that we can lower, we can always, I said this. I said, yeah, we got $8 trillion worth of debt to roll over, which is why the Fed needs to keep lowering rates. Inflation be damned. I don't give a fuck about inflation. We can always lower costs through cheaper base costs like that of energy and technological expansion combined with more prudent and effective spending of government funds. I still very, very much believe that and hope that's the path we go down. And I do believe it is too. And I posted about a Doomberg article. Doomberg is the bird. In case you haven't seen him, he looks like this. So this is Doomberg, guys.
Content. So an honor to be back with you and looking forward to another fantastic discussion.
He's the most brilliant green rooster bird, whatever the fuck he is, that I've ever listened to. He's a very smart guy, very, very clued in with commodities and the energy markets, probably one of the top people to listen to. So if you like looking at green cartoon birds that are brilliant, this is the guy you want to listen to. But in this YouTube video, he was talking about how a real Donald Trump is going to push an energy boom across the U.S. economy and how beneficial this could be. He had some concerns, too, that are very much aligned with what Charlie Gasparino was talking about. But again, I think there's a really good chance that we actually push towards the good side of history and not the bad. Today's tariffs, just think about everything that's happened with Trump, guys. People said, Trump's never going to get his guy appointed. Everybody hates him. Everybody hates Mike. And he did. And they said, they killed the 1,600-page bill, but there's no way they're going to keep the government open. And they did it with a 150-page bill. And it sounds like all of Trump's appointments are going to be approved and have the votes. Okay. And all these things that the woke left and that the liberal media want to tell you that are going to be huge stumbling blocks, like Trump's fighting with Elon Musk. This is when it's over right now. The romance is over. H-1B visas. Trump's going to let him know that he hates him. And then Trump's like, nah, dude, I'm all about it. So everything people are worried about that they think is really, really going to be bad, it's not. It's not. And it's all turning out really, really good so far. And I think that Doge is going to be incredible. And I think that people are looking at all the bad things, rightfully so. There's a lot of them sitting in front of us. Definitely headwinds near the latter half of this next year. That's why people like Tom Lee are so concerned about them. But there's a lot of really positive things coming too. I would encourage you to listen to the people that are the builders, listen to the people that are smart and that look towards the future and how to make it better. I think they're really important to listen to. Also, my boy Banana Stocks, he actually told me that I kicked ass on calling Bitcoin recently, which I love because this guy's really good at what he does. So that made me super happy. Not taking too many questions about individual cryptos and stocks right now, guys. Kind of save that stuff to the later part of the show. But he was talking about how the NASDAQ McClellan oscillator, how basically everything, extreme fear, the McClellan oscillator, which is a really good indicator too, and then just moving averages, how everything is pointing towards us going higher. And that seems to be the case. And yeah, that's pretty much it. U.S. economy, I had a bunch of other stuff in here too. But we'll skip all that. We've talked about a lot of it. Oh, there is one good one. Oh yeah, just the average year for the S&P 500 since 1950 has gained 9.5% and was higher 72% of the time. So 3/4 of the time. After a 20% year, it jumped to 10.6% and higher 81% of the time. After back-to-back 20% years, 20% on average and never lower. So what he's saying is that because we had two really great years, the chance of us having a third great year is actually really high, which is awesome. It's awesome. Government schools. I like the prudent spending of government funds. The best public schools often have smaller budgets. Yeah, they should have smaller budgets, and I think they should be more regionalized, and I think there should be less government control over what they're talking about. I don't think it should be a bunch of DEI bullshit. Oh no, MSTR 3x up 50%. I don't know what you mean by that. Are you talking about like a 3x fund? I don't know what you mean. But yeah, so anyway, let's keep going. Lots to talk about. The geopolitical front, there's so much happening, guys. Hey, everyone, Jesse's dropping all the deets, but with 840 plus viewers, there are only 93 likes. Thank you, sir. Thank you for keeping on top of it. Granite Share, 3x fund on MicroStrategy. There's another one coming, or is this the existing one? All right, so let's get to it. So I said, let's get rid of this piece of shit next. So we got a job to do, guys. We're getting rid of Justin Trudeau this week. That sounds fun. Let's do that. And we need to get rid of Macron. We need to get rid of Keir Starmer so that he can't let little girls get raped and murdered and chopped up and turned into fucking kebabs in Britain any longer. And we need to get rid of all of them. And Macron, if you don't like the fact that Elon Musk has a voice and has a social media site that can't be censored by you, if you'll remember, this dipshit tried to take the CEO of Telegram and put him in prison so that he could force him to convey the right message and censor the appropriate things on Telegram. He was worse to the CEO, the Russian CEO of Telegram, than Vladimir Putin, who this guy had to flee. So France and the UK and parts of Europe are literally not free democracies anymore, and it's very clear and evident. And this piece of shit needs to go away. And Elon Musk put, wow, Lord Ahmad of Rotherham was convicted of buggery of a boy under 11. So he was screwing an 11-year-old boy. Judge decided his brother was too old to stand trial, but a trial of the facts determined he was also a pedophile. Only Parliament can remove his title, but they won't make time to do it. So how can this guy try to rape a girl and sodomize a young boy and be in any position of power in the UK? And let's look at the UK and their focus on different terms in the news media. And you'll see grooming gang way down at the bottom here. You'll see white privilege way down at the bottom, like nothing, right? Anti-Muslim. Get down here to racism and far right, net zero, Britain racism, Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, somebody who fucking died in our country. In a city that is not far from where I live. I know a lot more about this story than these motherfuckers do in the UK. And look at this. Look at what they focus on. They focus on the far right and racism and you know, white people and stuff like that. Like, right? Like, that's the problem. It's astonishing. It's very odd. And again, Bill Ackman going crazy. It says, holy shit, here's the UK admitting they will arrest you for your tweets. Why would they protect migrant gangs and child rapists and then go after people because of their tweets? We've already listened to that one, though. And then in Brazil, again, another communist dictatorship, guys. Right here, according to the Brazilian media, the Israeli soldier who Brazil tried to prosecute for war crimes in Gaza, he was there on vacation in Brazil, and they tried to prosecute him for war crimes, and he was able to flee the country and get away. But there's definitely an establishment. I'd say the World Economic Forum still has their hands pretty strongly around France. There's problems, obviously, in Germany. Germany needs to be fixed. That's on the list. Canada, it's over for Canada. Trudeau isn't going to win. Pierre is going to win. He's going to change that country for the better. And again, there's the UK, Keir Starmer. There's all these countries in Brazil. There's all these countries that need to be fixed, and we're going to fix them all. This was actually a really good interview with Vladimir Zelensky. Putin should get on here next. He should start talking. Putin is a bad dude. I'm sorry. I don't care about people on the right. They seem to idolize Putin because he leans more conservative, but he is not a good person. He's a horrible person. He poisons people all the time. He's very much a dictator. He shoots people out of the sky that oppose him. His chef, he shot him out of the sky, literally. Oh, I got a light thing missing. There we go. Get some light. It's getting a little dark in here. But he's not a good guy. And I don't know, Zelensky, again, Ukraine has so much corruption. The whole region is fucked. But one of the things that I liked out of this 3-hour interview is that he talked about how Donald Trump is the real deal, and he thinks there's going to be peace because of him. And I don't know. And he was smart enough to immediately reach out to Donald Trump, too. He is an actor. I mean, he literally was an actor. He's got like a production studio. So, yes, you're right. He is that. But one of the things I liked, again, just watch the 3-hour interview. I think he does. Here's what I think of Zelensky. I think he does love his country. I actually think Putin loves his country too. I just think that he was a part of the KGB and taught to be a really bad person. If you look at Putin's life, he was a gangster and a criminal from like a very young age. He grew up rough. And he was a bad dude. Yeah, Reagan was an actor too, but Reagan was a lot more genuine of a person, I think. And I don't know. I think Zelensky is too. I just think there's a lot of corruption. I don't know how much he's associated with, and I think that there's. I mean, again, Ukraine didn't ask to get invaded. I'm sorry, they didn't. There's things that America did really poorly that probably prompted Russia to invade that country, like our horrible withdrawal from Afghanistan. And then again, just like talk of NATO all the time from the Biden administration. So many bad things that probably led to the invasion, but they didn't ask to be invaded. So you have to remember that. But I hear, again, without getting too further down the political rabbit hole, it was awesome to hear him literally say, let's just listen to real quick here.
It won't be long because Europe will be looking at us and we'll be looking at Trump. And by the way, I now see that when I talk about something with Donald Trump, whether we meet in person or we just have a call, all the European leaders always ask, how was it? This shows the influence of Donald Trump. And this has never happened before. With an American president, I tell you from my experience, this also gives you confidence, that he can stop this war. It won't be long.
And he also said in there too, like that he doesn't even care what NATO has to say because what really matters is what Trump has to say. It was a really good interview. Again, it's long. I don't know. Just try and listen to people and what they say without a bunch of preconceptions about who they are based upon little articles that you read here and there and what the mob mentality believes. Use your own brain too when you look at things. That should be the way that it works. You shouldn't have other people tell you what your opinions are, including myself. You should be able to figure them out on your own and do some actual research to figure it out, or listen to really great people that do it already. And again, this is crazy. I'll hop out of the geopolitics in a second, guys. But there's a lot going on. This is to make the world a better place. You should be aware of what's happening. But this says only about 1% of the British population is Pakistani men. But according to the Cockbain report, they committed 80% of the gang rapes. That seems like a problem. Again, just so much stuff. There's so much. I posted a ton of it. Keir Starmer being compared to Stalin. Persecution of farmers, check. Jailing of political dissidents, check. Removal of free speech, check. Political show trials, check. High taxes, check. Forcing citizens to freeze, check. State corruption, check. Biased state media, check. Creation of thought crimes, check. Cover up of murders, check. Forced migration, check. What a wonderful country. The English police will hunt down and try to arrest Americans. They also hunt down and arrest people that are praying, but not in a church, in a setting, and they're out in public. They'll arrest you for that if you're praying to a God that isn't Muhammad, which is kind of weird. You think religion would be free on both sides if you're going to make it free, right? But yeah, and so this guy's just a piece of shit. And he basically said that if you criticize the 250,000 girls that have been raped by these gangs over the last several decades, that you are a white supremacist. So if in case you guys didn't know, even if you're brown, even if you're whatever color skin you got, if you criticize this, you are a white supremacist. So just so you guys know, that's how it works nowadays. But yeah, so that's the geopolitical front. It's just a bunch of garbage and bullshit. Let's jump to China. Yeah, he could have fled the country. You're right, Albert. He could have ran away, and he didn't. I agree. I agree. And again, all we have is our perception of reality. We could all be wrong in some way about who Zelensky is or who Putin is, and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, whatever. But here's what I do know. I do know that I think Trump is going to resolve that issue and that we're going to stop spending tons of money in Ukraine and that there's going to be less Ukrainians and Russian people dying because of it. And that is good, in my opinion. It's good for everybody. Amit, Jesse, I still think it's funny that people demanded that you pick a side and were upside when you picked the side that disagreed. But I've been on all sides, man, and I'll continue to shift back and forth based upon each topic and how I feel about it and the research I put into it. And I'll try and base that research on what I believe is the best thing for humanity. I try to be like Elon Musk as much as I can. It's impossible to be that way because he seems to put out so much of himself and do so much. But I think you should look at it that way, right? Like you should look at it as what's best for humanity and be willing to adapt your thoughts. Like he was pushing for Nigel Farage to step up, but then Nigel said a bunch of things about how Tommy Robinson deserved to be in prison, and now Elon in just a week has been like, nope, don't support him. He needs to step down. So he very much is an independent thinker, and I love that. I love that. Yeah, CleanSpark up 3.33% in pre-market. Good stuff. We'll actually probably pull up more of that in a second. I should actually look at this over my side screen here at least, so I kind of know where things are going because I'm missing so many of my screens. But yeah, it should be a very interesting day, guys. Very interesting. Let me just do this. I'm gonna pull this down and then look at my watch list and just sort it. You guys can't see this, but I'll probably pop it up eventually. I just want to see how pre-market's doing. Oh, it looks real good. MSTX almost 7%. Micron up almost 6%. SMCI up. ASML up. Looks like a lot of the chip producers are up. Tesla up 3%. Damn, we're going to make some money today, guys. We're going to make a lot of money today, guys. A lot of money. A lot of money. A lot of money. Anyway, China. So everybody talks about how, guys, you can't have capital flight out of China. Happy New Year from Taiwan. Hey, JT, what's up, buddy? Just got back from vacay, and the crew is looking good. Thank you, sir. But yeah, so people talk about how you can't get money out of China all the time, and like, oh, there's no capital flight. That's bullshit. This Bloom Industry CEO, Balding, he's not a huge fan of China. Let's just put it that way. But he said there are thousands of ways to move money out of China to get hard currency. It's so foreign to most people, they don't even think it's an actual industry. However, everyone, and I mean everyone, with more than a few RMB to their name has or worked with people to move money abroad and has a backup plan. Let me give you merely one story of how Chinese people move money. And this is, again, one story. There's other people talking about how they see ads on WeChat. So if you don't think there's ways to get money out of China, you're wrong. I also posted this today too. So I talked about the currency and how the dollar was very weak today and how good that is. But also, China's is not in a good place. They have to devalue their currency soon. I said the only major currency not getting relief today is the Chinese yuan, currently sitting at a very dangerous levels where it could see rapid devaluation. Here's the thing. China has no choice. They must devalue the yuan or their currency will collapse much sooner than they would like. So there's ways that we can help them with. AL, thank you for being a member. There's ways that we can help them with this, and it benefits us as well. So again, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. And this is crazy because we're talking about right now being at levels that near the great financial crisis, right before the great financial crisis with the value of their yuan, which just shows or I should say the dollar versus the won, which just shows how much they've fallen, right? 2013, they look at this. Look at what happened. All this money flowing from about 2006 to 2013 was huge. Then there was a setback. Then they got better. Then there was a setback. Then they got better after that. When did they get better? They got better after the pandemic. Isn't that interesting? Lots of talk about a pandemic there again, or something like a lot of people sick, which is always fascinating. But people started buying their goods en masse, and so the value of the won increased a lot, and then it just totally broke down, and now it's just there is no saving this. It's going to get real ugly for them in the not too distant future. Signing in from Dubai. Great content. Thanks, Al. Appreciate you, man. Hello, let's make some money. I agree. Sailor must be bearish on Bitcoin. He only bought 100 million this weekend. I'm pretty bearish. But again, he's going to do this every Monday, guys. Do you guys realize every Monday he's going to post what he bought over the weekend? He's literally putting a floor on Bitcoin, and people don't seem to realize it. And there's preferred stock offerings now. I'll try and go into more detail about a lot of that, guys. What he's doing is the markets are asking him for different ways in order to be able to balance out the risks that he's taking, whether it be convertible bonds, just traditional share dilution, or whether or not it's preferred stock offerings. They're just different tool sets, and he's got a lot of demand, and there's just different ways of doing it that balance it all out. And you got to remember, he's balancing these risks out between microstrategy and macrostrategy, so between the parent company and the child. And then he's doing this where he's putting portions of it down for collateral, like 500 million or a third down, to get a 1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. There's all this stuff. People don't realize how well he's managing risk. I listened to Dylan LeClaire last night talk for about an hour and a half or something. I don't know. It was a while, just about how interesting all of this is. And he's kind of a scatterbrain with his thoughts, like me when he's talking. So sometimes it's confusing, but it's really brilliant. It's really brilliant what's happening, and I hope more and more people start to understand it. I have a post actually about MicroStrategy, a video that is amazing from somebody who worked in the bond markets for years, talking about how what he's doing is a game changer. And so these are people that are experts in the industry. Oh, we got a conversation going on right now. Oh, I kind of want to hear this before we jump further down the China rabbit hole. I want to go back. I want to hear what we're talking about with Speaker Johnson and all this. One second. We got McCarthy here. I want to hear what they're saying with this. 1 second, guys.
Members of the House Freedom.
Also, we got about 50 minutes until the market opens.
Johnson must prove he won't fail to deliver on President-elect Trump's agenda.
I'm sorry, what? Jason, Sally, my micro to macro tea ended up on the emergency room floor in Spain. 2nd January, probably got the hoodie once I'm out of the hospital. Jason, what the fuck? Thanks for helping pass the boredom of hospital. Dude, what? What's going on? Oh, thoughts on, so Jay Stress too. So you tell me what's going on, Jason. But Jay Stress says thoughts on interactive brokers increasing margin requirements on MicroStrategy products. Yeah, that's smart. They should do that. They should make sure that they don't have to worry about risk. And if you're on margin, that can happen to you at any point in time, which is why margin is bullshit. It's one thing to lever up and give yourself years to be right with like a leap or something like that. It's another thing to take out short-term borrowing that at any time they could ask for more collateral and you could be fucked. So don't borrow on margin. That's the moral of that story. And I think they're doing exactly what they need to do to manage the risk. And I think that's probably a smart decision on their part. Daisy, CES is in Las Vegas, is in session this week. I heard that. That's awesome. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of it. Tech should be up since it's one of the best tech events in the world. I think history tells us that there's a lot of tech that usually goes up too when that happens. On the machine, even on vacation, I can't miss these live market openings. Thank you, Jesse, for all your hard work. That's awesome. Gregory, just because he announces Monday doesn't mean he bought over the weekend. It doesn't have to mean it, but that's probably what happened. That's what I've been seeing. But it doesn't have to mean that. But it means that, I mean, again, he does this every week. So it means he bought throughout the week or the weekend, and it's usually the weekend from what I can see. All right, real quickly, let's listen to Kevin McCarthy talk about everything. The GOP set to take full control in D.C. and just whatever questions this moron asks.
They write the following. They say they voted for Johnson on Friday, quote, despite our sincere reservations regarding the Speaker's track record over the past 15 months. Joining us right now to talk about the new Republican dynamic.
I think there's nuance there. I think Trump is being brilliant. He can always replace him later, but he just wants to get everything lined up heading into office on the 20th, so that he's ready to hit the ground running. He doesn't want to have to worry about strikes from different ports. He doesn't want to have to worry about any of that stuff, so he's not going to talk about automation at a port when it's not a big fucking deal, and it could increase inflation and cause all this controversy. He's like, no, leave them the fuck alone. Give them their pay increase. We don't give a shit. And get the speaker in, and keep the government open, and increase the debt ceiling. And let's get some of this terror stuff and some of these things, initially conservative things, pushed through that everybody can agree on. Let's get our wins on the table. Let's get Doge going. Let's start moving and showing progress so that people believe in us. That's what I think he's doing, and I think he's going to be very successful at it.
Dynamic in Washington, former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. He's chairman of the Alpha Institute. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So there's a big piece in the Washington Post this morning,
Yes.
I don't know if you saw, about tariffs and not just tariffs, but really actually the bill. I mean, I should really go maybe to the piece that was in Axios. I'm sort of mixing pieces in my head now about sort of the idea that there's going to be sort of one massive bill that's going to come due, if you will, with everything in it: immigration, potentially taxes, all sorts of component parts. Will the Freedom Caucus go along with sort of a massive MAGA bill?
They're going to have to. I mean, this is what's so critical. And for your viewers to understand, this is because of reconciliation. Yeah. You can only have it if you have the Senate and the House. It's how the Democrats did Obamacare. It's how we did tax reform. But the critical part here is this is in modern history, it's the first time that the majority in the Senate is bigger than the majority in the House. They actually lost seats in the House. And another thing they're not talking about, the Speaker talks about getting this done by April 1st. He won't even have the 2 seats in Florida that are open. The election is on April 1st. So the election for Speaker, he had a bigger majority than wants to do this. Now, this is a big win for the chairman of Ways and Means, Jason Smith, because earlier they were talking about doing 2 reconciliations, which I thought was wrong. Because what happens, it gets more difficult to pass a bill later, exactly to your question.
Reconciliation just means you don't have to have any Democrats.
I don't need 60 votes in the Senate,
you can get it done.
And you can do cuts. But you can't write any bill you want because you got the Byrd rule in the Senate. The parliamentarian has a lot of power. Thune already said he's not going to go against the parliamentarian. So Trump is right by moving to just 1, because I think getting that bite of that apple is going to be a difficult job.
What would you put in that?
Well, you got to do tax, okay? But think about this. You couldn't pass the same tax bill that you had now because the New Yorkers and the Californians
want the higher
for state, for the SALT. The president now said that he doesn't want no tax on tips. So this all costs more money. So how do you offset this, right? Then if you need money for the border. And think about this. If this is all supposed to be done by April 1st, they never got the funding done from last year. That's due in March. So what are they going to focus on? They should have got all that done ahead of time.
You're saying you would do this, but it also sounds like there's no way, there's not a chance that this is getting done by August.
Oh, no, it's getting done. Okay. The way we got tax reform done, because we did this same way, because we failed on health care, people leaned into tax, even though some didn't want to vote for it, because they felt if we failed here, we'd lose everything.
So basically, this is like take it all, or you have nothing.
Yes, they know the American public is watching this. Now, President Trump is doing a very good job for this reason. He's got the Freedom Caucus coming down. The Freedom Caucus letter there, the people who are anti-Trump are more in the Freedom Caucus than any other place. So for them to play this card, they're wrong. They're trying to leverage for their own personal positions. They're really not leveraging for the Trump stuff.
Right.
I know what the private meetings are about. I know what they tried to do to me.
Where are you going to put me in charge? Which
I want the Rules Committee. I want Chip Roy in charge of the rules. That's what they asked.
And by the way, the rest of the Republicans say, no way, we're not going to take that again.
They couldn't win the vote by their own conference, so they try to leverage this point.
So this makes sense from the House perspective. Does it make sense from the Senate perspective? Because Thune has not sounded as
well. It's easier it's easier for Thune because remember, for the first time in modern history, he's got a bigger majority, and they go along more than here.
Good point.
But what Trump is doing next week, he's bringing a number of members down. So Trump is not only president, he's pretty much the speaker now, too, because he's turning these votes.
It's like an
That's
LBJ
true.
sort of situation.
Yeah,
where
he's
he's
the
going to go
power.
around and kick
He's the
people in the
power.
shins and say, you're going to do this.
He has to do this. And he realizes the importance. The uniqueness, too, I was just with the president Friday. He is better
The
prepared.
incoming president.
Better prepared.
Yeah, President Trump.
President.
Who gives a fuck?
That's easy to.
Figured.
President Trump is better prepared to go into the job this time than he was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
He knows the job. He knows what has to get done. He knows he's got one term. He doesn't want to waste one
How
day.
does Dworkin feel
the
about
people that he's brought in, he is much
Dworkin
better
upset about that,
prepared
you
and
guys
the
think?
knowledge of what has to happen. So he also knows how to work. President Trump knows these districts better than these members do. I spent a lot of time with him.
I believe
when we
that.
would go and endorse, he knows the outcome. He knows the strength in them.
I've been talking to a number of people who've been down in Mar-a-Lago, and they say they think
He can apply so much pressure right now.
There's more access to him, and it's better that it's going to be easier for him, or this last month, easier for him to see people and to get to people than it is once he actually gets to the White House. Do you think that's true?
No,
Congrats, guys.
President Trump is more accessible than anybody on his staff. And this is the difficult part for someone who works for him. Because members will talk
don't get
to
to
him.
be the
and
gatekeeper.
He will
Right,
talk to
dude.
everybody. I don't understand how good he is at a work ethic. He doesn't need much sleep. He never has in his life. I usually would talk to him early in the morning and late at night, every single day. Still talk to him. And the number of people he talks to in a day is amazing, is more than any that his staff talks to.
What do you think we should all make of the number of CEOs who are going down to Mar-a-Lago and or now contributing to the inauguration? I ask because there's some people who look at this and say, these companies never did this before. These tech companies weren't doing this in 2016. And by the way, they weren't doing it for Democrats either, interestingly. Is this transactional? Is this cozying up? Is this practical? Are these the new defense companies, if you will?
Totally.
Meaning, I would say defense companies and some banks and others were doing this years ago.
I look at people who give to the
This is his talking point today. He just thought about this over the weekend, so Andrew's got to say it like 20 times.
inaugural different than someone gives to the campaign because it really is a celebration of there. Now,
Well,
are they doing
and-
it just
and
for
you know who the
celebrating?
winner is
no.
at that point.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people. Tech companies are different today, though. They never played in politics,
They need
okay?
to- they need to
But
talk.
now they do.
Yeah.
Government can affect them, and what have they done? So they now begin to realize a lot of them are just now putting government affairs together. They're realizing they better start building a relationship.
Oh, but
And it's
companies like
all-
Meta and Google have been spending enormous amounts of money in Washington.
Oh, shut the fuck up, Andrew. All right, I'm tired of listening to him. But I do think, guys, I do think that things are changing dramatically in the scene in Washington. And I think what's been negative narratives for a while now about Trump tariffs and all these things being bad and Trump's going to be a wrecking ball, guys. He's going to make inflation go up. Just all this bullshit that has been prevailing across the media is going to be disproven. And I think people like Andrew Dworkin are really going to be upset as they realize that their world is falling apart and the control they have is falling apart and it's being replaced by like green fucking birds and dudes who don't even have sleeves. And I think that's upsetting to Andrew Dworkin and I take pity for him. Anyway, oh yeah, I put here, 'tis the season where Bloomberg tries to get you to buy Chinese equities. Do not fall for it. Again, the New Year sell-off in Chinese shares overseas and money managers are a reason to reconsider staying put in Indian equities. They're basically saying, you should come over to the Chinese ones, guys. Why invest in India when you can have a country that's failing across all kinds of systemic issues and might pop for a minute where you could make some money, but it's also a hot potato, and if the music stops, you're not going to be able to find a seat. Oh yeah, wow, how attractive. Anyway, here's a video where I said everyone, including Pakistan, is putting tariffs on China at a time their currency is weakening. 30% tariffs coming out of Pakistan. Russia putting tariffs that are equivalent to this. It might have even been 50%. I posted a video about that. Russia, guys, putting tariffs on China, a country that's been helping them fight the war in Ukraine. And Brazil doing the same thing. So even BRICS, literally, the countries in BRICS, the ones that are left. Wasn't Syria in BRICS? Was Syria the S in BRICS, guys? Because that guy got overthrown. So BRICS kind of falling apart. Been saying that for a long time that was coming. And guess what? Getting proven right. So this is at, yesterday, this was at 1.607 The Chinese 10-year bond. What are we sitting at today on the Chinese 10-year bond? Let me just see if I can pull this up real quick here and see what is going on in China. Chinese 10-year. Oh, there we go. Chai. Just like my chai. I like to drink chai too. Today, 1.605. So again, continuing to deteriorate. Not a good thing for China as they watch their bond market. And people ask me about this, and maybe, oh, it's the S. Oh, my bad. Okay. My bad. Thank you guys. We got real-time community notes. How fucking great is this show? Thank you guys. Anyway, all right, let's keep going. So, what was I had a point. China doing badly, falling apart. Oh yeah, people were asking about the 10-year bond, saying, well, hey, could this mean that they're doing really good and everybody wants to buy their bonds? No, it does not. So what it means is that people are afraid of sheer large amounts of deflation, 136% in pre-market. Dude, I would get the fuck out of that stock. If you had options in that, I would get the fuck out and enjoy that and just like soak it up because that's too much. For Fubo, Fubo's up 136% in pre-market. That's insane. For you bag holders, though, we got to take a second. We're going to take a second for the bag holders. We're going to get back to China here. We got to look for the bag holders who've been holding on to Fubo forever and a day. Let's just look at Fubo and give you guys an idea of where you're sitting with this pump in pre-market. Holy shit. Wow. So the measured move, you just surpassed the measured move of like the .618 level. And you're up here. You're up here, guys. This is a heavy resistance zone. But there's some weirdness. This chart is such an ugly beast. This company used to be like something very different, I think, or I'm sorry, just highly valuated or high valuation back when it IPO'd in like 2015 or whatever it was. I don't know the whole history of it, but I know that comparatively it was $21,000 a share, and then it got down to 99 cents back here in 2023, and it's just been the pain train forever where people thought they were doing better and you just got lower lows and lower lows and lower lows. You're hitting, guys, what is a very strong, like, again, this is kind of, you're hitting what was support should now be resistance, right? And you're hitting this in such a way, it's hard to even go back to those others because you can see how it messes up the volume profile over here. But you're hitting key resistance here. So if you're up 130+% today, guys, this is not financial advice in any way because I'm just some dude without sleeves sitting in his basement who couldn't figure out how to finish high school. But I don't know. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. Like, again, you're above all this volume, and that looks attractive if you're just looking at it, nakedly. But I could see this thing dump really quick when our market opens. I think very few people are going to get 132%. Could be wrong. I don't know the substance around this deal. I don't know how greatly this helps their business model. Global merging into Fubo is merging into Disney? Or are you talking about, Disney moving its Hulu plus live TV biz into Fubo? Really? Huh. I wonder what that deal looks like. All right, well, I don't know enough about the fundamentals of it, but here's what I can tell you. Where it is right now on price is like key resistance levels. So Disney to own 70% of Fubo. Oh, that's pretty substantial. Congrats. That's pretty fucking awesome. Essentially a part of Hulu now. Cool. All right. That sounds, I think that my biggest argument against Fubo before was that YouTube TV or something like it could just destroy it in an instant. If they've been bought out essentially, or I should say this, the content is being given to them, but they get a huge portion of Fubo. That's beautiful. Very excited, guys. That's kick ass. Good for you guys. Anybody invested in that? Good for you. That is cool. Anyway, we're getting close to 8. We don't have, again, a lot of economic data. I've got to get all my bookmarks back, all my tabs that are closed right now. Makes me want to cry. Let me look at pre-market here, over here on the heat map at least. Yeah, it looks so pretty today, guys. So many things going up today. Let's real quickly, though. Let's see how Germany's doing here. We got a bunch of German data. We got some economic confidence in Mexico. Looks like that is waning a little bit after just a ridiculous confidence level in October. I think what happened is I think confidence in Mexico has just been growing. And then Trump got elected. And then they're like, oh, shit. And so you can see how the business environment there is looking rough. Will it break 100K before today's stream ends? It could. Our resistance levels, guys, if you haven't seen my posts on Bitcoin, it's right between 100 and 101. If you look down in the bottom right corner, you'll see where this peak volume is here, around 101,358. So that is an area. Oh, hey, thanks for the 10 euro. Is that euro or francs? Whatever. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Peter. But yeah, if you look over here, like that's something where where it's going to be a peak resistance. But I think we're getting to 100. I think we'll at least try and test up to this level. There's a nice little trough here on the volume profile, right underneath 100. We'll probably at least touch 100 or get close to it again. We almost did on Sunday. Yeah, wow, Fubo. It sounds like that deal with Disney is sick. So Fubo did really good. The fundamentals of that, like, that sounds like the only way Fubo really could do good. So I'm excited for you guys. Good job. Hopefully, if somebody had, God, if you had long calls on that, some leaps, and you got 140% today, and you were able to just nibble off some of that, I can't even imagine what the returns would look like. That would be a hell of a Hail Mary. Man Mahindra said, please take a look at the 10-year. Last I saw, the 10-year was actually doing a little bit better. We'll look at the 2 and the 10 and the inversion. So the 2 is rolling over. It has picked up just a little bit, but it's down 0.21%. Let's look at the 10-year. The 10-year, I don't know how to feel about that. There's still going to be some concerns with the 10-year on how Basent handles things, because again, just what Charlie Gasparino was talking about and what Tom was retweeting. So the 10-year again kind of still got a base here. Tried to break down, couldn't really do that. If we just zoom in here, you can see where it literally touched the previous resistance. It turned it into support. And this is off a little bit. But it didn't even hit it. And so it actually didn't even hit it. So it found support kind of what it found over here for support, what it found here on support, what was resistance over here, what was resistance here. So it's sitting pretty good and can go higher. It's not what people want to hear. It's not what I want to hear. But it can go higher, and it can push mortgage rates higher until springtime. I think what we're gonna end up seeing, guys, is I think we're gonna end up seeing a world where Jerome Powell has to comply, or he's gonna have members on the Fed get replaced, and potentially if there's a legal way to do it, I could see him getting replaced or the Fed losing its independence. And you know what? Here's the way I look at it: fuck the Fed. Fuck the Fed. Fuck the Treasury General Account. Fuck Janet Yellen. Fuck Jerome Powell. Fuck all of them. What they do to manipulate interest rates in order to be able to steal money from people, but have them not realize that they're stealing money from people so that they can push the thesis of Keynesian economics, which I believe is a inferior way of running an economy. I get velocity of money. I get all that stuff, guys. But here's the thing. If a bunch of people can get rich from their hard work and be rewarded for it, and that wealth creates more wealth, and we have smaller government, then I think you get to a point where people build up enough wealth where they're like, hey, I'm going to buy these things over here. And then you don't have to worry about creating velocity and money. You have a natural demand that isn't artificial. So I say, fuck the Fed. Fuck the Fed. Fuck Jerome Powell. Bend him. Make him take a knee. And make him do your bidding. That's what I would advise to Donald Trump. And I think that's going to be better for humanity. I think rates need to come down. While the Fed is here, they need to juice this economy. They need to do it now at a time where we're looking at the precipice of massive amounts of innovation and the potential of expanding energy and lowering the costs. Let's get rid of them. And I mean, that's obviously not happening overnight, but that's what we need to do. China. Yeah, so just again, I think we're good here. I think we went over a lot of it. There's a bunch of Chinese related stuff. I think I've talked about all of that. Let's keep going. I think I want that F the Fed Yellen Powell T-shirt. Yeah, yeah, dude, I like that. Fubo pushing 200% now. Wow, who owns it? If you guys own Fubo in chat, throw it up, dude. Take a victory lap. Congratulations. Baller statement on the Fed. Fuck them. Yeah, dude, it's bullshit. Fuck them. All right, let's keep going. So let's look at, we're going to look at something with MicroStrategy in a little bit. It's just beautiful. But first off, my buddy Willy Woo, one of the coolest burnouts in Hong Kong, I think, talking about how Bitcoin on exchanges, you can see down here, has fallen off a cliff. This is, he's using Woo charts. He's probably, so yeah, he's using Glassnode data. Some people use CryptoQuant. If you use CryptoQuant, it's going to look like it's even less. So if you see disparities in these numbers, that's why, okay? Make Powell take a knee to the Bureau of Land Management, the BLM. I like it. You guys are great. But yeah, so either way, though, no matter which metrics you're looking at or how you're looking at it, here's the thing. The amount of Bitcoin on exchanges is falling down at a historic pace. One we haven't seen since over here. And if you look at CryptoQuant, it's like one of the steepest drops in history. What's your top BTC top prediction time frame? I don't know. If we go up too high, then it's going to be sooner. If we don't go up high enough, I think it's going to be later. I'm starting, I hate to say this, but I'm starting to fall into the camp where I think we're in a super cycle. And I hate to say this time is different because it's usually such a foolish thing to say. But I'll judge it each month, and I'll keep you guys updated on how we're thinking, because I just can't tell you. I can't tell you. There's so many bad things that can happen, and there's so many good things that can happen. And it's hard to know which ones are going to prevail in the coming months. If you would have asked me at the beginning of last year if Donald Trump would be the president and Elon Musk would be a part of the Department of Government Efficiency, and Vivek would be a part of that as well, and that you'd have J.D. Vance, somebody who's brilliant, being a part of the administration, and you would have everybody who's supporting Trump, including liberal Democrats, and people like Joe Rogan and all these others, I never would have believed you, man. I never would have believed you. If you would have told me Al-Shir Bassad what would fall in Syria, I never would have believed you. If you would have told me that the war was coming to an end quickly with Russia and Ukraine, I wouldn't have believed you. There's so many things. If you would have told me the markets were still screaming higher and they could do it again this next year, at least through the mid-year, I never would have believed you. So I think that you kind of have to constantly reevaluate everything. If you're not doing that every single day, then I think you're falling behind. And so I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep reevaluating things. So I can just tell you what I feel right now, and then I can tell you that that's probably going to change. Jeremy is going to be on I Told You So shit with Fubo. Oh, does he still have Fubo? I haven't heard him talk about it in ages. Does he still have it? If he doesn't have it, that's going to be pretty shitty for him. If he does have it, that's going to be badass, and I'm happy for him. Jeremy looks really good on paper. If you look at his balance sheet portfolio, I've actually been beating him on his public account. I've dwarfed him. I went up and even in the last year here, I've dwarfed him. I really caught up because of 2023 because of my 600% increase, but the 53% last year was also a nice multiplier. So I'm beating him, but if you look at his balance sheet, because he's just a simplistic, I don't want to say simplistic, I think he's doing a good job outside of a couple of bad stock picks. He's a buy and hold investor, and I think that's a brilliant way to be for the majority of people. I think what he does is probably one of the best things people can do. He's got a cost basis on Tesla that says $14,000 worth or something, and it's worth $300 and something thousand now. It looks good. He has a fat Fubo stack. Good for him, dude. Fuck yeah. I like Jeremy. I think he's a good dude. I like the way he invests too. Even though he actually helped me a lot with figuring out how to value companies. He's one of many people that I listen to, so I have a lot of respect for him. Glenn Jacobs, Jesse, instead of buying your Lambo outright, would you buy a property and use rent to finance the car? No, there's a bunch of things. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I end up doing it. I keep going back and forth. I have to at least get to 20 million before I'm going to spend that much money. So his hair choices are all over the place. Him and Meet Kevin seem to compete for the crazy hair thing. I agree. Real quickly though, on the Bitcoin front, guys. So they asked Tom Lee, they said, fun strat, how would this scenario impact Bitcoin? This scenario is the Charlie Gasparino one we talked about earlier, where he was worried about all the debt refinancing. and he said, "Hodl, own Bitcoin, guys." Also, there was some speculation about Apple having like payment methods and stuff for Bitcoin, for Lightning Network. I don't think any of that's true. This is, it says documenting Bitcoin. Apple added Bitcoin symbols to their library. That's interesting. Yeah, and let's keep going. So Dennis Porter said sometimes what seems bullish is actually bearish. So he posted in December 23rd of 2021 that by 2028, the president of the U.S. will hodl Bitcoin and Congress will be overrun with Bitcoiners. He was really bearish. He was really bearish because that's actually happened a lot sooner and faster and probably more than he would have ever expected. And he's been a big part of that. So give this man props, man. I think I subscribe to Dennis. Do I? I better. Yeah, I do. Support people that are great in this industry. That's the way I look at it. He said, monetary debasement is a societal debasement. The more we debase our money, the more society crumbles. Yes. There's a video I haven't played in a long time that I absolutely love that I'm probably going to play at the end of this, that speaks to that in a very like thought-provoking way, that just a way that gives me all the feels. But it says, don't believe me, just look at the darkest periods in human history, and you'll find that monetary debasement was a key part of the collapse. Example, collapse of Rome. Yes, really great example. Danny Marquez says, public companies with at least 500 plus Bitcoin on balance sheet. Look at this. It's just crazy. Mara, MicroStrategy, Hut, Riot, Hives, Similar Scientific, CleanSpark, CANG, Exodus. There's just like, this is so fucking cool. And thank you for tagging me. I didn't even notice that you tagged me on that, Danny. Cool, man. You guys are amazing. Jeremy is good, but he's okay with taking losses on stuff like Tattoo Chef. Yeah, he holds, and he'll admit this. He holds on to his losses too long. Yes, I'm going to update my portfolio. I'm sorry. So guys, I dismantled my old PC to hook up my monitors to my new monitors, and but I moved the file over to Google Drive, but the file I guess was a temp file, and so the temp file doesn't work and automatically convert to Excel on the Mac. So now I've got to plug in my old PC and try and get that turned into a regular file, maybe exported in a couple of different Excel file types, so that I can then funnel that into my Mac and see if I can get it to convert cleanly without giving me errors, so that I can then update the file, so that I can then update my portfolio. It is on the list of things to do. So I will try and get it out today. I was hoping to do it Saturday, but then I was like, I just fucking hate shit like this. I hate maintenance work that doesn't really do anything productive, but I know that you guys want it, so I will work on that. And again, on the Bitcoin front, like, I call this shit, so yeah. And Carl Minger, turn off MSM, study Bitcoin. Again, get rid of the TV. Definitely don't listen to mainstream media. These people lie to you, whether they know it or not. Some of them is just ignorance. But don't listen to it. Hey, Jesse, you should do a 10,000 to 100,000 challenge where your followers can follow your trades with a small amount and see it grow like yours. Yeah, maybe. I'm not really big into the whole, like, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. You guys underestimate my level of laziness. I don't have any script. I don't do shit. All I do lately is I just come on here and I have some bookmarks and I grab a coffee in the morning. Starbucks is the mug of the day. It's my ceramic Starbucks mug. And I click a couple of buttons and then I fire this bitch off and we start having a conversation. That's the level of effort I'm willing to put into it. And so I don't know if that's going to happen. We're going to have to figure something out and get other people into it, because I am just too lazy of a person to do that. Namdatan meetup sounds great. I like the meetup idea. Yeah, Mitt was talking about that. He said he's going to travel to a bunch of different states and maybe a few different countries. I think that's fucking cool. Maybe I'll show up at one of those. Palantir holders in 2025. I was a Palantir holder. I've got Palantir shares right now, a large quantity. I've got almost $4,000 worth. So I think I count. And plus, then all the other guys that hate me from Palantir will be there and they can say hi. JT, man, I used to love meeting around the tech stuff. Now I just want stuff to work. Yeah, right. C-List sounds like 1999 file management. God, dude, no shit. James NG, we should get Jesse IT support guy. Dude, I used to be IT support, but I hate it so much. I hate, like, when things don't work right. Like, I've got a problem now with my new monitors where every once in a while they'll blink for a second and then all of a sudden it's like the monitor management for my Mac or something, and maybe this extra tool that I have to be able to display more monitors, because this thing can only do so much, it just gets buggy. So now I'm looking at buying a $10,000 MacBook Studio or like the full Mac Pro, because I'm just pissed and I don't want to deal with this shit. I want everything to work all the fucking time. It's worth the money. So I'm just like, switch to Google Sheets. No, dude, fuck no. I'm not learning anything new. No. I'm 47 years old, JWVB. I am not learning new spreadsheet bullshit. If the AI can't do it, I ain't doing it. Ben Guy, good morning all. Happy Monday. Ball, Jug Paul. My prediction, in time, Jesse will launch a fund. I would invest. Yeah, if I can get somebody else to do all the work. If I can get somebody else to do all the work, I would do a fund. It would be easier too, because then it's like okay, this is my fund. This part is financial advice. You know what I mean? Like it would be a lot easier, and then people could just literally just own it. Someday maybe. I think I'll have to get somebody who's like more accredited than me. I'm a high school dropout. I went to a shitty like 2-year college. I got a GED, and then I went to a shitty 2-year college. I got a GED right after I dropped out, actually. I was only like 17 or something. I don't even know. Maybe I was 18 at the time. But I got that right away, and then I went to a 2-year college on network administration and security. Hated it. Cheated through most of it. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm definitely not educationally qualified to be able to do any of that. So I'd have to have somebody else that makes that happen, to where the fund would actually be eligible for all the requirements that they have, because there's a lot. Kevin definitely did a lot of work. He might be an idiot when it comes to investing, but he's a smart guy and did a lot of work to at least create a fund. Now, if you could just learn how to get it to where it goes green. Zero to Bitcoin, Italy, 1.5 billion deal with SpaceX. I saw that. Musk and Maloney, love affair continues. Yeah, she's great. I love her. Real quick, guys, real quick. So for a second here, we're going to pop over. I gotta go to the bathroom early. I drank too much. So we're going to listen to Dipshit Kramer for a second. Actually, we're going to go live. Oh, no, we're going to go back. I'm going to see if I can find something more interesting than Jim Cramer. Let's see what we have here. I don't want to give you anything just boring. I did see there's McCarthy talking. That was kind of interesting. Let me see here. There was something else I saw earlier. Just got to see if I can find it. Oh, yeah, here's the deal. Here's the deal about Disney and Fubo. Yeah, there you go. I'll make Kevin my bitch. I like that idea. All right, one sec. I'll be right back. I'm going to get some. Yeah, I'll be right back. Give me 2 minutes, guys.
Report up about 68%, less than $1 to $2.41. As part of that deal, Fubo would drop its legal claims against Venue Sports. That's the joint sports streaming venture by Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers. Joining us right now is Rich Greenfield, who's an analyst and partner at Lightshed. And Rich, what do you think of this? Obviously, not a done deal at this point. Is this something that would clear the way for that sports venture to go through, or are there other authorities that might get involved?
Look, at the end of the day, Bob Iger is the pretty amazing deal maker. And I think, he very much believed in Venue Sports. I think there was a tremendous amount of frustration among Disney, as well as Fox and Warner Brothers executives about the way the lawsuit was going. I think they weren't in a great position on appeal. And so this becomes a very elegant solution to solve two problems. One, Becky, Hulu Live TV was not a good business. Disney was in it to sort of help ESPN, but within the bundle. But now that ESPN is going direct to consumer in September of 2025, this year, they don't really care as much about the linear bundle. And so exiting the money losing.
So how are these guys doing again? I just want to look real quick. What are we up today? What are we up? Oh, almost 200%. That's fucking crazy. Yeah, 200% in pre-market, guys. Oh my God. Congrats, dude. Congrats to all holders. If you got calls on that, so much money to be made from that. Somebody said, Albert said, you not having a script and being as real as it gets is why we love you. Yeah, dude, this is like authentic, right? There's no bullshit here. I mean, maybe some bullshit, but it's just me being me, telling you what I think. And I think that's the way it should always be across things like this, right? Like it should always be, you should be an authentic human being and not some fabricated fucking thing that is told what to say by people that are paying you. That's, yeah, I don't know. I don't love any of that. All right, U.S. Steel, Nippon Steel file lawsuit over President Biden. Yeah, it looks like they're going after. There's that steel merger with Japan. That it looks like that some stuff's going to be happening there. I think that's all good. Let's see here. I got my GED at the age of 36 to become a cop. Cool, Alfredo. Yeah, you know what? I think I tell my daughter this all the time. I don't know if this is a good thing to tell a 10-year-old, but I tell her school is bullshit and grades don't fucking matter. And what she needs to focus on is learning, and she needs to focus on relationships and communication and finding things that she enjoys and that she's interested in, because AI is going to be able to do everything. Before we had the calculator, where we had to learn all this bullshit math that we wouldn't apply in our normal lives, and then the calculator did everything that we needed it to do. Nowadays, it's just literally ask a computer. So I just think there's a lot of bullshit in school where we're teaching people things that they're not going to need in their own life, and that don't serve them. And then we don't teach them things about like finance, because Rockefeller didn't want the masses to be too educated. There's not enough sufficient disk space to continue recording. I thought I cleared up a bunch of that. What the fuck? Anyway, whatever. I need a new Mac, guys. I need a $10,000 Mac so I can function. That's what we're going to do. I might even buy that shit today. Jesse, bro, ArcG Leaps. I actually had ArcG Leaps. Kind of wishing I still had them, but oh well. The All In podcast was amazing. Yeah, probably helped Micron pop. It was a really great podcast this weekend, guys. If you didn't listen to it, there was some kind of bullshit predictions in there too, but I'd say most of it was good. And the guest host, what was his name? He was great. I'll always miss David Sachs. I love that man, but he's doing God's work. So I'm not super religious, but he's a good dude. Matthew Purdy, loving how hard Elon is going on Starmer on X. Dude, he's on a mission. He's on a mission to save humanity. Jesse, I opened a January 2026 Tesla Leap 350 strike, up nearly 30%, cut or hold. Dude, that's totally up to you. I don't know what percentage of your portfolio. There's so many things. And again, I'm not a financial advisor. How much time do you have on it? 2026. That's a decent amount of time. Again, it's up to you. I'll tell you when we hit resistance and support. There's a bunch of people that are raising price targets. We'll talk about that in a second. We should be teaching how to prompt AI. Yeah, exactly. How to prompt AI. What question? Exactly. What questions do you ask? Wait for the M4. I know. I totally want to. There's later this year. There's supposed to be a new Mac. I don't know. We'll see. CleanSpark didn't dump when they said they're below 10,000 HODL. What are your realistic targets for CleanSpark? I think max 40 probably. My realistic targets for CleanSpark. I got to fix this. It really sucks right now. But my max is 40. And here's the thing. I've told people, they're like, Jesse, what do you think about miners going forward? Because there's some people that DBV, one of these guys that follows me too, he did a write-up about how he works in the mining industry and how people shouldn't invest in miners. One of my friends who used to be the chief technology officer at Gateway Computers, cow-spotted computer box, whatever. For people who know it, you know it. It's old school. But he's been saying that for a long time too. And I'm actually starting to believe that miners eventually will be a commoditized business, because it is really hard to survive. And so I don't know if they'll provide the returns that they have in the past. So I don't know how much I'm going to love that in the future. But, and oh, by the way, guys, if you're not looking, Bitcoin's doing a retest. Don't be too scared by it though. If you look here, we're just back testing the 200 moving average in the bottom right. So this is actually like really normal. I'm gonna zoom this in just so you have a better view. This is actually really normal. Again, we had the 50 moving average that we just blasted through. The 100 we chopped. The 200 we chopped. We blasted above it. We're back testing it before going higher. Pretty normal stuff. So I wouldn't worry about that. But yeah. So CleanSpark, I think there's a strong possibility that I think it's going to be easy to get to 30. Because 30 is just a little bit higher than where we were in March. I mean, we're at like 24 range, right? So I think that's 171%, I think is pretty easy to get to 30. And then I think the next one, the golden retracement zone is 41. That's probably what I'm calling for the max. Could it go higher than that? Yes. I'm not calling that. So I'm going to keep it really, really simple here. And there's something here. I put this here because there's this measured move, right? The broadness of this. But I'm going to be stupid fucking conservative. So we're calling 40 as the peak for CleanSpark, in my opinion. I'm going to be very conservative on miners. And again, that might change a little bit depending upon what happens with the market, how good Doge does, how good Trump is. There's always things that can change, guys. I'm not set in stone, but yeah, I still think it's really great. I don't know. I might buy a current Mac now, guys, because I just want one, and then I'll buy another one later. A few extra Macs. I want a studio downtown where I live, and then I want to have my estate where I've got my 6-acre estate with my indoor pool. So if I can accomplish these things, I'm going to need more than one. So that's my excuse at least. And if I don't buy a Ferrari or a Lambo anytime soon, then I feel like a $10,000 Mac isn't a big deal. And that's probably what's going to happen. Probably not going to get that. As much as I would like it for fun, I don't know. I'm such a cheap ass. Jesse living the Bruce Wayne life. Yeah, hopefully, man. Jesse having 2 Macs equals buy Apple calls. Nah, I don't know. I don't know if it does, man. There's just too much exposure to China. Feds Cook turned DXY up quickly. WashPo story on tariffs being debunked by Trump. Oh, is it? Okay. So what are we doing on the? So yeah, you're right. So the dollar, it's only down, or the DXY is only down 0.44% now. So interesting. Since you started buying SoFi, what is your price target? I don't know. It's much higher. We can look at that stuff later. It's much higher. So we got 7 minutes right now. But SoFi is a little expensive if you look at PE ratio, which is like, I mean, again, it doesn't apply to everything. I try and add up a bunch of different things to figure out how we're doing. But yeah, the Disney deal is huge. You're right. You need a bushel of apples. Why do I need a bushel of apples? Oh, I get it. Apples. Sorry, I was thinking apples. Crypto Addict, your take on ARKG50 calls for January 2026. I did a post over the weekend where I was talking about how I love them for just. All right, so I got a lot to get through. Let's focus on this real quick. So Dennis Porter, the reason I'm so confident about the potential for a strategic Bitcoin reserve in the United States is that there's already significant momentum building, which will only continue to grow in 2025. Even if Trump does not issue an executive order to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve, over a dozen states, 13 right now, are expecting to pursue strategic Bitcoin reserve legislation this year. As these states begin to pass legislation, it creates additional political momentum, making the idea of an SBR more viable at the federal level. I agree. The states will be the leaders. Don't get me wrong, though. He could issue a strategic Bitcoin reserve where we don't talk about making it a reserve and that we just, consider our stack that to hold it as a container. I think that's a decent likelihood. But I do think states will lead. I love how Howard Lutnick says Tether starts 2025 with a $5 billion in profits and key allies in the Trump commerce. Nominee Howard Lutnick agreed. And he's also going to be helping out with the Doge. Yeah, I have ADD, so it's helpful. It's helpful and it's bad, Mr. Proper. Altcoin Daily, investing in Bitcoin is more profitable than investing in real estate. Powerful image. This is beautiful. 2016, shortly before I got on this train, 664 Bitcoin would get you the average median price of a home, which was $288,400. In 2020, that was 45 Bitcoin, a little bit less. But the house cost more. It was $328,900. Bitcoin, obviously, still doing better. And then in 2024, the average house price is $434,700. It only takes 6.6 Bitcoin to get you there. Probably less today. That's shocking, right? Like it's about 5 Bitcoin today, a little bit less than 5. There's a reason to own Bitcoin. If you don't get that, you will. Yep, that was just more strategic Bitcoin news. This is a good one. I thought this was good, so I wanted to get it out to you guys. So people ask me all the time about the quantum computing threat for Bitcoin, and this is just a funny way of illustrating the difference, right? So yes, you better be worried because your bank PIN is like 4 digits, and your Bitcoin private key is this many. So yeah, be super worried about quantum computing wrecking the Bitcoin network and not maybe destroying the banking system and hacking every government computer on Earth and every corporation on Earth. maybe those are the ones you need to be worried about. And again, it's not a concern right now. And there are ways that it's resilient with hard forks and the ability to be able to revert back. And there's just so much don't worry about it. Adam said, Jesse, what percentage of your portfolio would you recommend? 10% for what? Adam, for what? For what? For what? I don't know what you're talking about. For Bitcoin, 50. Right now, 50. Not financial advice. All right. Samson Mao's company, Jan 3, raises $5 million to focus on onboarding countries into Bitcoin and developing a Bitcoin wallet. Fred Krueger, he's kind of autistic, but I like him. Bitcoin Hodl does not like him, but I like him. He talks about, anyway, some of his theories are a little off. But anyway, every 60 years or so, the gold supply doubles, cost of doing business. Every 7 years, the US dollar money supply doubles, much bigger cost of doing business. Bitcoin supply will never double. Max increase is 5% from year. And he didn't say it, but it's over the next 100 plus years. So there's something to be said. I think that's a lot of it from the Bitcoin side. We're going to jump over to MicroStrategy. We've got 2 minutes. Actually, we'll probably jump over here, guys, to get the bell. That's not the bell. That's Doomberg. That's our favorite bird. There's other birds, but there's no other birds quite like Doomberg. All right, so we'll get over here. And we'll be getting ready for this in a second. So we'll turn that live. Somebody had a post in here. It says 30 packets. Says need to watch TMC if you love Howard Lutnick, as Cantor Fitzgerald is a financier of the metals company. Yeah, somebody else was talking about that too. Deep sea mining is the future of metals extraction, and the Trump team is incredibly bullish. Check out my profile, Jesse, if you want to see more. Yeah, I'll have to write that down. Fuck, I don't know where my pen is. And then my notepad. Motherfucker. I'll try and remember. If nothing else, remind me tomorrow. 30 packets. I do want to take a look. Adam Frasino, Bitcoin. Oh yeah, 50% right now is what that's what more than 50% of my wealth is in Bitcoin right now, or Bitcoin derivatives, Bitcoin proxies, and hard wallet Bitcoin. More than 50%. So I don't fuck around, man. Like this thing, Bitcoin and Tesla are two of the greatest things to make you rich in your entire life, and they're conservative investments in my opinion because the potential, the asymmetric bet for returns is so great, and then the downside risk is so minimal if you have a 4-year time horizon on either one of them. What's your thoughts on Cold Card Wallet? I've never used it. I've got a few. I've got a Trezor. I got a
busy week for Fed Speak. Already getting the first speech of the week out of Lisa Cook. She makes some comments, Jim, about AI and productivity.
But remember, guys, if you have a hardware wallet, your money isn't on the wallet. It's on a cryptographic hash key. Always remember that. Okay.
But does basically say the Fed can be more cautious on cuts?
Look, I think that the Fed has to position itself that way. They didn't position itself well enough going into September. I think you're not going to hear anyone say anything other than there's more work to do. And I wish they'd be a little bit more empirical about the work needs to be done. It's insurance.
With Trump, I haven't looked at the story where he kind of debunks, very, very low tariff numbers that this Washington Post or whatever had put out, if that's where it came from. So I don't know exactly how the markets are going to do today, but it sounds like the dollar is still down 0.61%. So it sounds like markets are still going to do pretty good. We'll see.
Auto costs. It's in some miles in the supermarket. Just talk about where we can't get down, because then it's going to lead you to housing. And I think that housing prices are going to come down as rates go higher. We earlier thought that.
I do actually agree with Jim Cramer on this. I think I don't know, maybe my thought thesis will end up changing, but maybe rates are a little bit higher in the early spring. And over the winter, we see stronger price compression in housing across a lot of different sectors of the U.S. economy. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Oh, yeah, the bell. Sorry.
If rates went down, housing prices would go down. That's just like we have in China.
Ding, 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 ding.
Right to be able to say we're going to go softer. We're not worried about inflation. You must always worry about inflation because the election in many ways was about inflation.
Maybe most.
All right, whatever. Let's go over here and look real quickly and see how we are doing on our watch list. Oh, I got to fix those colors in CleanSpark. Hey, thank you to the 1,200 plus people who are here. I don't say this enough. I know I can be incredibly offensive because I have strong conviction about things. Sometimes that conviction will change as I get new information. I think I'm a pretty reasonable guy. But I know I turned some people off with my politics. I know I turned some people off with my vulgar language, which I try to get better at. But as you can ask my parents, I'm not so good at. But I'm trying, right? I'm trying to like be a good person, provide value. And so thank you to everybody who's here. And if you could spread the message and get more people here, that'd be wonderful. Micron Technology is actually the top out of my list today, guys. I mean, Fubo is not on my list. That would be at the top if it was. But MSTX coming in. Oh, I guess that's dropping because of MSTR. Let's adjust. Let's recount and adjust here. Let's see what's down. Bond volatility down. Palantir down 2%. I'm probably going to wait to buy more. Again, we've hit that kind of ceiling. So I think Palantir is a company that could kind of reset as time goes on here. And I'm going to hold to that. The Nifty is down. That's the Indian stock market. BitDeer is down. Bonk is down. BitDigital's down. Cypher's down. So some of the miners are down today. The dollar's down. Gold is down. TLT is down. TLT has just been getting walloped. Still loving that play in the future, guys. I'm going to talk to ARKG today, probably in here, even though I made that members-only video. I've not bought more today, but I'm going to talk about ARKG because I think that's important. AMD's up today, 2.56%, liking that. NVIDIA's up, so the chips are up, guys. NEO's up, so you can tell people are already starting their bets on China. Really stupid thing to do. ASML, pisses me off. This one's up. I need to buy ASML. And again, I sold my SMCI for other stuff. That's okay. That's okay. I don't care about that so much. But that's doing good. All the chips are doing good. ASML is one where I think it could really do good because this company, if we go to war, I think it's a hedge against war. I think initially, I think it's a hedge against war because we'll need their lithography machines more than ever if we end up having issues around Taiwan. So I think the stock could go to the roof. So I need to get into that one. And if we look at ASML, I actually just want to do a segue real quick and look at this because I do believe I find it fascinating. Tesla calls printing, sweet. I got a bunch of those. Got like $300,000 on them now, so or something. ASML. So ASML is a company where I need to spend more time on this one. I'm gonna just check that real quick because again, lithography machines in war, you will need these. And even with this gap move today, and this thing could come back down, guys. It's gapped pretty hard, right? And gaps can close. It doesn't have to. But it's still down 33% from its recent high, or probably 32 if I like. No, 33. So I still think this is a value territory thing. Let me look real quickly. I don't know if I have visual stocks. Let me pull it up over on this other screen, and then I'll bring it over because I want to look at this one. I don't spend a lot of time on this, but I am getting excited about it. And so I just want to talk to it. So let's look here. So ASML, I just want to look at the math behind it and see if it's over or undervalued based on being a tech company in the ship sector. It's got a forward PE of 28. It's probably a little bit higher today. That is reasonable to me. Their forward projections aren't crazy for estimates. But again, think of what happens for demand for this company if we have war in Taiwan. ASML is certainly a hedge. I think so, right? Because if TSMC gets taken over and NVIDIA can't get their chips and we need to start building more chips, we'll have some massive effort from the United States government to push for chip fabs. And I don't see how they do this without ASML. So this is actually one that I've really been thinking about. I've been thinking about getting stock Anduril IPO before their IPO. Getting stock on the private market. I'm going to probably look at that in the months ahead. And then I'm thinking about potentially doing some leap type thing with ASML. And then again, I love the idea of also getting TLT as a war hedge and a hedge against deflation. I'm so excited about TLT, guys. I need to go into that with a specific video. I haven't done it yet, but I will. Because here's what I love about TLT. The bond market, and let's just pull it up real quick here. So ASML, I think this is a great opportunity. I think people buying into this are not going to hate themselves, and I think they got to get a hedge against war. Cool. TLT, this, I don't know. There could be dedicated war bonds too, but I've got a lot of excitement behind TLT. There's a lot. If you look here, guys, when you have really depressed time frames, you could see 36% bounces. There's like another one over here that happen in less than 2 years, right? So if you look, that's actually like pretty common over multi-year time frames. it is pretty common for this thing over several years, over 2 years, I should say, to be able to bounce 48%, 40%, 36%, 60%, like really good bounces. Well, we've had the worst route in history on TLT, right? This thing's down a lot right now, like over 50%. Currently, it has like 4.41% to drop to get to the lowest levels it's been at in a very, very long time. But it's down 51% from its high. So I don't think it's unreasonable. First off, I think we could W bottom. I think we could actually continue to see pressure down into the 83 range. And I'm going to be buying long calls into that because, again, we can get 10x the underlying. Even if the underlying only moves 30%, 35%, 10x gets you 350 to 400% roughly by my math. And we have this huge volume profile gap all the way up to 112. And then again, you could see pressure. It doesn't really get the strongest until about 120. So if we did a 39% increase from where we're at, or God willing, it goes way down here to 82, and there's a 46% increase in this thing over a period of 2 years, let's say January 2027 calls, you could get a 500% increase on your money. And if I had $500,000 by that time, let's say I have $10 to $15 million, and I put $500,000 or 5% of my positioning into long calls on this, and then maybe I put a bunch into, ASML and some other stuff. Then and maybe Anduril, right? Then I think I'm prepared against war. And the thing I love about TLT is it doesn't just have to be war, guys. If there's war, people are probably going to buy bonds too because they want the safety and they're worried about deflation. And you'll see something like you saw with the 10-year in China, where there's just like people are willing to accept a lot less in yield because they just want to have safety. So you could see that in war, I believe, especially if Doge. And here's the thing: if Doge does a good job with balancing, reducing costs and getting rid of all this waste in government and reducing the size of government, and Trump does a good job and the Republicans do a good job of that over the next 2 years, that could also send this thing higher. So if we're good at what we're doing, then this thing goes higher. If we have war, this thing goes higher. If the world starts to fall apart for whatever reason and there isn't war, but we start to see massive deflation, this thing goes higher. All roads, this thing leads higher, in my opinion. So I'm getting very excited, guys. I feel like I have vision. I feel like I'm going to have the ability to be long and have the ability to be able to still have protection in case of craziness happening around the world. I'm very excited about it. Lockheed Martin went up a lot during the Russia. Yeah, but you know what, though? Lockheed Martin, Boeing, all these companies that have been pilfering the U.S. government for a long time, Trump is going to grab them by their fucking nuts and shred them. So I wouldn't look, Lim, at just Lockheed Martin and traditional. I wouldn't look towards traditional defense sector stocks as a safety at a time of war. I think we're going to be pushing very aggressively. We're going to be squeezing them and saying, you ain't making shit. And these whole like cost and materials contracts are gone, bitches. You start building stuff and you start building it quickly and you start building it well. And if you can't do that, you die. And we'll give that money to Anduril. Anduril. We'll give it to these drone companies like it's not Red Hat or something like that. We'll give it to drone companies. We'll give it to Palantir. We'll give it to them. Fuck you. And that's the future of warfare anyway. The future of warfare is going to be like some autonomous jet stealth type 6th generation fighters along with drone swarms. And the drones will be like missile systems and defense systems that will get in the way of things that are trying to take them down so that they'll be like active shield systems. There'll probably be all kinds of crazy shit that goes with it, right? When will Anduril be available for buying? I don't know. I'm probably going to buy it on the private market. Even if I have to pay a 20-30% premium, I'll probably buy it because I think their last valuation was $15 billion. I'm doing a bunch of research, guys. I'll probably make drone warfare is really scary to think about. It is, but it's the future and it's here. And so we can be scared about things, or we can learn everything we can about them and figure out how to make money off of it and figure out how to protect the world. SMCI is up 14% today. Are you shitting me? Is that today? Holy shit. What? Wow. Let me just resort here. So chips are going crazy today. Was there news on SMCI? Kind of regretting selling it now. Do I still own some? Let me check. Let me look. Let me see if I still own some. Oh, I gotta authenticate. One sec, guys. Let me do this real quick. Wow, that's crazy. If you own Fubo, if you own SMCI, if you own Micron, if you own ASML, all these things are doing good today, guys. Congrats. It's probably the $80 billion Microsoft investment. Oh, that'll do it. That will do it. It's like everything I don't own is up today. I'm kidding. I'm actually doing really good. I can't complain. Tesla's up, what? 2.5%. That's pretty good. SoFi's up 2.76. I'll take it. Mara's up. Is CleanSpark? How's CleanSpark doing? CleanSpark had such a great day. CleanSpark's up 1 point. After these companies, guys, had 10, 25% increases on a Friday, I'm not going to complain about anything. Silas, there's a concept called Russian backwardness for a reason. What do you mean by that? Curious. Archie calls up 27%. Hopefully that isn't a bunch of people rushing into them. Let me refresh. That is a huge number. I hope people on my post, guys. I got to throw out warnings. Hopefully you guys, I don't see it being up 27%, but maybe it hasn't updated. My balance thing doesn't update really well. BTC pumping again. Yep. And the dollar is still down 0.5. Well, that's pretty good. Bond volatility's down. VIX is down. Everything's doing pretty good today. Do I have some SMCI? I got one share. Oh, that's disappointing. Would be something to make fun with all of us or a few to invest in Anduril. Yeah, Anduril is great. A stock I've been talking about, TMDX printing today, still undervalued. Awesome. Yeah, hopefully the Archie calls last, because if a bunch of people are just diving into that based upon a post that I made the other day, I don't remember if I included my options contracts in there. Yeah, you're right. They're up 90. Yeah, the bid is 90 cents a contract. Jesus Christ. I mean, I think it's going to do well. It's up 2.34%, and it was up over 5% the other day. Just don't FOMO into shit, guys. If I put out something like even a members only post talking about ARKG, just don't FOMO into it. Like, at least understand, like, at least look at the price that I was talking about. I'm going to show you guys real quick. Yeah, subscribers only. So here's what I posted. I said, subscribers only, it's just too good not to share. And I talked about how Palantir was great and how this thing's been consolidating and how I believe it could hit into the 50s or even 70s. And how this is an asymmetric bet for me, because this thing can do, if it goes up 200% towards 80, it can give me 3,000%. And I could make $12 million if that happens over the next year, if it goes to 80. And that's good money, because I've got 400,000 in, right? But again, guys, don't FOMO in. I told you guys, I said, hey, my contracts were 72 cents at the time of writing this. So if you're paying 90, you're paying a higher premium, and it could retrace over the short term. And so short term, you could take a hit. So again, always, guys, always, I put this in here, always look at this video. The video teaches you how to look up this stuff yourself and figure out a different contract. Don't just pump my bags. I don't even think I put my contracts in. Well, no, I guess I did, because they're up here. So whatever. Just please don't fucking FOMO into shit, especially with options contracts. After I post something like this, it might behoove you to watch this video, know how I look things up with the options profit calculator, know how I go to the NASDAQ in order to be able to find contracts that have the highest amount of interest, so that there's volume in them later. By the way, we're almost getting to 100K on Bitcoin. And do stuff like that. Don't just FOMO into the exact shit I own. I don't need you guys to pump my bags, okay? I'll just do this. I'll have to do this fucking disclaimer every time I do this, I guess. But please, just, again, be smart. Okay? Take your time. Because the people FOMOing in right now, yeah, now it's down to 85 cents a contract. So that's already a hit. So it was up 26%. Now it's only up 21. So maybe just wait if you haven't gotten into this, but you find it interesting. And again, subscribe to member stuff if you want to understand it. Here's the thing. I posted about Palantir over the weekend too. This is very much looking like Palantir. And it doesn't need a lot of catalyst, because if it just doubles, you make shit tons of money. You can pump my bags, says Celis. Celis doesn't mind if you pump his bags. Mark, Jesse, can you take a look at PanW today? Yes, we will. We'll do that before I exit today, I promise. But yeah, so just don't, again, be conservative with things, guys. Don't get all crazy and shit. Ryan, you late or new? Watching earlier part of the vid, and he answers why he doesn't. Why he doesn't what? Why he doesn't what? Why he doesn't what? Jesse, Ryan. Oh, yeah, Jesse. Since you're bearish on China, why don't you buy puts? Because I don't trust anything with China. All these companies are like Cayman Island companies. You don't own any stocks in China. Oh, hey, we're getting our data. We got our data. Let's listen. We're gonna go to Rick Santelli here real quick. Actually, let me just go here. I'm gonna look at it first, and then we'll go to Rick. But yeah, I don't trust any of it because I don't know if I can get paid out. I don't know that I can trust it. S&P Global Composite, guys, 55.5 versus 56.6, and then 53 forecast. So one could argue this is actually pretty good versus the forecast. It's better than forecast, lower than consensus. S&P Global Services PMI, 56.8. That is lower than forecast and lower than consensus. This might actually increase our chance of getting additional rate cuts here soon. That's interesting. But let's look real quickly. So let's look at the composite. So here's the nice thing. We're still on a trend higher, right? United States PMI shows higher. We like that. We like higher. We don't hate higher. Now let's look at services right over here. Services PMI. I don't know why I only have 3 years. Usually I have more. This is weird. Anyway, again, the trend higher since August of 2022. We like that. We don't hate it. So even though these are slightly lower than forecast, I think they're going to be seen as a positive. And again, and maybe I just need to pull this up. CME. Oh, yeah, there we go. CME. Okay. Let me pull this up. I'll slowly build back my bookmarks that I'm missing. So if we look over here at January cuts, let's just refresh and see what we're sitting at. Wow, I'm up over $400,000 today. What the actual fuck? After over 500,000 yesterday, I just did not expect this. Why is this not populating? Let me see here. Oh, it's broken. It's like some weird Adobe shit. All right, so I don't know why, but the CME Fed Watch tool is not coming back right now. Does it show down here? So it says 91% chance of staying the same, 10% chance of lowering rates. Let's see what March says. God, this site is just broken. We'll come back to it later. All right, let's listen real quickly. We'll listen to what Rick Santelli has to say, guys. Real fast here. I'm just going to back up the truck. Bitcoin just went over 100K. I think it's liking our chance. I think our chance of additional cuts is going to increase. But let's see what they're saying. Let's see what the narrative is. Tim, thank you for becoming a member. Since you're a member, you can chat. Let's go back here real quick. All right, here we go. Breaking news.
Tech. Wow.
Let's see what they have to say about these services. About the PMI for composite and services.
Yep. You could say it's slowed, but that's still very strong.
We did get some solid prints on those numbers out of Europe. Let's get more with Rick Santelli. Morning, Rick.
Looks like I'm going to be back to $6 million. Woohoo. Not quite to 7, but I'll take it, especially when I'm cashed out $250,000.
Good morning, Carl. Indeed, we're looking for a December final read on S&P Global. Now, these are important. This is the service side and the composite. The mid-month read was 58.5 on services. It drops. Final read moves down to 56.8. We also see a drop on the composite from 56.6, gets replaced to 55.4. Both these comp to the weakest just since November. A couple of issues to point out here. If you look at the service side, all 12 months on both sides of this were above 50. As a matter of fact, We're looking at 23 consecutive months above 50 on services. So in a macro way, that's pretty good. We did lose a little bit of ground, and we've had competing tariff stories coming out that have been moving the dollar and markets. We have more data at the top of the hour with factory orders and durable goods. Squawk on the Street will return after a very brief break.
All right, so nothing too interesting there. Conspiracy theory. Come on. Jesse is BTC market maker. Why does BTC always pump during the market open? Very sus. Yeah, it's totally me, man. I'm a whale. You know what? I think it's because Tom Lee's been listening to me. I'm kidding. He's not. But yeah, I do think. I don't know. I think if you work hard enough and to figure out what the future is, then you might be right about it. I don't know why this is under here. Let me get rid of that. Let me go back. We got more to talk about, guys. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about. Let me go back here. Guys, to honor the passing of former President Jimmy Carter, the U.S. stock market will be closed on Thursday. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. That's pretty crazy. I can't believe I've made almost $1 million in 2 business days. It's just, I've made over $1 million in a day. So, I mean, I guess I kind of can't believe it. Dude, we're testing the 101 range, guys. Look at this shit. All right, so Quentin says, so again, MicroStrategy, they're bearish on Bitcoin. Michael Saylor wanted you to know that he only bought $101 million worth this week. So he obviously just gave up completely. Quentin says no other company will surpass MicroStrategy's Bitcoin holdings. Huge amount of holdings. Yeah, SMCI ripping. Awesome. What is it at now? Let me go back here. What are we at? SMCI. It's down a little bit, actually, but look at Micron, up 9%, ASML up 6%. The chip makers are doing all right today, guys. They're doing real good. And it's just crazy to still see so many other things doing well today, too. ARGT's up. Everything is up, dude. Tesla's only up 1.5%, but still doing all right. Doing all right. It's an honorable mention. Bitcoin's the leader today. We got to love the Bitcoins. All right, let's keep going. Let's go back over here. Ben Workman said brokers are proactively raising margin requirements leading up to the upcoming expiration on the 17th. And I just responded in here with the people shouldn't trade on margin. And if you do, be prepared to get squeezed. And he said, yeah, I agree totally, dude. He goes, people have to remember the easiest shares for the big guys to find are the ones that are forced to sell. Never make it to where you're forced to sell. I really like Ben. He's a good dude. He's a smart guy. And Jake was talking about how MicroStrategy found a hammer candle at the September pivot on the VWAP. He loves his VWAPs. Loves to VWAP it all day long. Good guy, Jake. Simply Bitcoin. Jared Kushner, President Trump's son-in-law, has started following Michael Saylor. I'm sure that means nothing. Bedlam, Capital Press, said after digesting the news that MicroStrategy intends on issuing $2 billion perpetual preferred shares and reading everything I could find, I've come up with a prevailing conclusion. You cannot be bullish enough. He did a really great write-up. Again, I'm not gonna be the one to do all the write-ups when other people have done a great job dissecting everything that's going on within how Michael Saylor's telegraphing things, what they mean. Other people's work, like Dylan LeClaire that I listened to for hours. But essentially, it's they're looking for other ways. The community of investors are looking for other ways, not just convertible bonds and regular share dilution. They're looking for like preferred stock and other ways to be able to put this on their books. And it's all super positive. So read it, get studied on it. Let me know if you guys have questions. Besides what's your thesis on it? Because my thesis I talk about all the time. There's a video that I put out too. God, I hope I can find it in here. I might refresh real quick. There is a video that I put out from this bond maker. Maybe I put it under Bitcoin. It is so good. Thoughts on call options for ASML? I'll probably be making a video. About it. Let me see if I can find this other one though, guys. There's so many good things. There's so much content. Max Kaiser, for 40 years, the Fed, fed a one-way bet on stocks by flooding every correction with a wall of insta-printed USD, the so-called Greenspan put that created a global liquidity glut of several $100 trillion. Sailor and now others are draining the liquidity glut by converting it to Bitcoin via securitization at MicroStrategy. The process is less than 3% completed. I actually think that this could help with weakening the dollar, but I've got theses on that I need to flesh out in my head. I'm going to try and find that video. Such an important video. A very thorough breakdown of the convertible bond strategy. Oh, yeah, and this was just from a few days ago. So Marquis, just talking about how the convertible bonds work, and this was before the preferred stock offering. Again, guys, great stuff. Just watch it. Hey, Jesse, a new idea for a video. You're starting 2025 with their initial 160K starting point from 4 years ago. It was actually 150K, but right now I think my minimum is close to 200,000. I'm trying to be conservative, but I think it can go to 400,000. But my high bet, I'm still keeping it at 280. Because that's where I think we reach a lot of tension. And Tom Lee has his at 220 because I think he thinks we reach that tension by the end of the first half because of the debt refinancing that needs to happen in the latter part of third quarter and fourth quarter with the $8 trillion in debt. We're hitting 101, guys, and looking to break above. If we get above that, that's going to be beautiful. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, so I think Bitcoin can go a lot higher. I'm going to be up $500,000 again today, over $1 million in 2 business days. That's Lambo money right there. Probably won't buy one. Just talk about it. I'm such a talker. Will you be selling Sol this cycle, or do you have? No, I'll definitely sell Sol. Shit coins are the things I have the least conviction on. Bitcoin is the one where it's like, fuck, is it just going to keep going up? But I don't have that same level of conviction on the shit coins. Even though, I mean, Sol is the least shitty of the shit. But yeah. So, in the real strategy here, guys, I posted so many things about this already. The real strategy here is that the amount of Bitcoin you own per share keeps going up and up and up and up and up. And you might be able to buy Bitcoin directly right now and get it for a cheaper price, but that doesn't matter because you have to look at this as a stock, as a company that returns yield and earnings. And the yield that these guys are getting ready to return and what they're going to be able to report at the end of Q1 with FASB accounting rules is going to make people it's going to change the narrative. And narratives are what the market fucking runs on. If you don't know this, narratives, whether they're right or wrong, the market grabs them and it runs with them, okay? And they're wrong a lot of the time, but it doesn't matter as long as you can see them coming. That's what matters, right? And we know global liquidity. There's a bunch of stuff on that. Tomorrow's video, guys, I'm probably going to focus on some thoughts from Tom Lee. Probably that bond investment video that I was talking about that you guys just have to see. I'm going to see if I can find that real quick. I might have just put it under Bitcoin. It's so important. I got to find it. And maybe it's under MicroStrategy, but it's just too far down. Oh, this is a great one. So look at this. I said this too. So FDIC sent out 25 letters telling banks to stop developing Bitcoin banking products like trading, custody, Bitcoin-backed loans. All these things, they basically said, we're going to fucking sue you, right? And Cybertruck's my Lambo? Kind of. I've added a bunch of stuff for the Cybertruck. I got a bunch of parts and things coming for that. But yeah, so this ends now. And 13 states working on a strategic reserve. America prints the dollar, China prints the dollar, buy Bitcoin. Look at this. Literally in China. Look at these. This is beautiful. These are beautiful notes. $100 bill notes, guys. They print money over there. They print our money over there. Prince Philip of Serbia. Every country will eventually adopt Bitcoin. I agree. Jack Mallers. We're likely to see the greatest bull market in the history of Bitcoin. I agree. The preferred stock offering. DXY is ripping. The last time the dollar was this strong, Bitcoin was bottoming at 15K. He's right about that too. And then Bitcoin miner. Yeah, we already saw that one. I don't know where. I got to find this one. Oh, I love this chart. Look at this chart, guys. Bitcoin, gold, art, cars and collectibles, equities, real estate, bonds, and money, currency. All of this, Bitcoin will take all of this. If it takes 1% of $120 trillion, if it takes 1% of $300 trillion, if it takes 1% of $330 trillion, we've already got $7 trillion more dollars. And it doesn't take $7 trillion plus $2 trillion to get us close to 10. It could take half that. And that's not including all this other shit. I just don't think people are bullish enough. I mean, what's to keep us from $10 million Bitcoin? Oh, you got the video, Danny? Thank you. Here's the video, guys. And
You don't want to skip. Everyone knows about Fold.
Is it? Yeah. Thank you so much. This video, guys, this guy right here knows more about the bond market, repo market, and governments than most people on earth. You have to listen to him. His name's Nick Bhatia. You have to listen to this. Watch this fucking video. It's an hour long. If you don't get it the first time, watch it again. If you don't get it again, ask me in chat during one of these and we'll pull it up and we'll go over it. You have to understand what he's talking about and how impactful this could be for MicroStrategy. You have to understand that. ARKG, I wonder if ARKG came back to reality. No, it's still at 90 cents a contract. So what came back down? I don't know. Something moved for a second there. I noticed the total gains for today shift a little bit. Oh, you know what? Some of it might have been carryover from last, up until 9 o'clock. Sometimes the numbers are goofy. So the whole thing is 100%. Oh, dude, it's so good. This is one of the best fucking videos I've seen in a long time. This is Michael Howell equivalency of thought bombs coming down on you. This is your fucking homework, okay? It's in there. It just, Danny put it in. Oh, Danny put it in there, but he didn't put it in the other one. Okay, 1 second. I'll put it in the mainstream here. So he put it on X, but now you guys got it, okay? Watch this fucking video, guys. Ask me any questions you have. I'm probably going to watch it again today. There's so much rattling through my brain right now about what's going on in the world that I'm just trying to process because it's just overwhelming. But this is one of them, guys. This is one of them. You must watch this video to understand. I should tag Jason. What's that Jason guy's name? Calcanis? Is that with a K? What's his fucking name? Jason, you idiot. How do you spell his name? Whatever. I'll try and find him later. All right. You guys gotta watch this video. I'll take out that. Let me see. That should work. Yeah, there we go. This is such a good video. Calcanis. I'll tag that dipshit too. You guys have to watch this video. Like, for reals. And I know I said I was going to do a bunch of stocks, but I have to pee again, and I don't want to have to come back. So I'm probably going to kill it here, guys. Tomorrow, though, I will do an epic. We're going to do a 3-hour show probably tomorrow. I might even start earlier than 7. We'll see how it goes. But I want to do some longer ones. Factory orders just came out. Got to go to factory orders first. 1 second here. This does matter. Factory orders month over month were negative 0.4%. Consensus was negative 0.3. Forecast was 0.3. So that's not good. It's probably okay, but it's not good. Factory orders ex transportation, 0.2%. So those came in line. So if you subtract out transportation, the factory orders look good. So what does that tell us, guys? Legacy auto be dying. Bedlam Capital, his post on top of that the video that I just shared is those are 2 pieces of content, guys, where if you spend an hour and a half today learning that, your life will be better, at least your investment life. $10 from EC. Industry experts in AI chips say the scarcest resource is high bandwidth memory, not the chips themselves. So like Micron. Yeah. That was the case of kind of that I'd never vetted it out and made a video about. I was kind of lazy the end of last year. I'm lazy by nature. I'm working on it because of Rob Group and his wife, Tram, who I'm going to be meeting with for a little bit tomorrow. I'm getting healthier. I'm being more active. I'm going to try and really crush it this year, guys. I'm going to fight the laziness. We're going to do some crazy shit. Soul Strategy's doing well. That does not surprise me. So yeah, again, memory sounds like a good one. I think chips and memory are going to be both in high demand. Still thinking of explaining Michael Howell's interview. I mean, I kind of did. I talk to it all the time. I've done it in multiple market opens. Essentially, a lot of his thoughts are China is in major trouble. China has to devalue their currency. He thinks they're probably going to do it against gold. He thinks the United States is going to probably create like a defense type bond and force the hand of countries like Europe, or well, the European region and all the countries within it, and anybody else who wants our defense to partake. And maybe that includes trying to get Australia on board, and maybe even India and others to buy our bonds. Definitely Japan. They've been doing it for a long time. I think we can still get them to do it. But that'll be a great way to make it to where our currency doesn't spin out of control. And I think there is some threat from tariffs of creating some inflationary pressures. I think those are overblown, and I think those are going to shrink. He thinks that coming into the second half of the year that we're going to have a lot of concerns with the $8 trillion that we're trying to refinance. And again, the Charles Gasparino video that we started talking about at the beginning of this one, where he said they left Powell and Janet Yellen have left us with a huge mess. It's the same kind of thing Michael Howell was talking about. It's the same thing that Tom Lee is obviously keeping his eye on, which is that they've done all these short-term treasuries, and those are great, and they might still be able to do that for a while. But Bessent, and Trump and all the people that are backing him are going to have an interesting road ahead of them with all this refinancing of debt and rates being as high as they are. So I think that's where pressure comes in for Powell to lower rates to keep the economy moving on. And if he can't do that, I think we're going to get rid of him. But Howell had a very good video. You can definitely watch it too. That's my take of it, along with some of my own thoughts injected upon it. So I think China has a vested interest to work with us in order to be able to make it to where they devalue their currency to help stay, but at the same time work with us on trade to where it's like, hey, yeah, we'll devalue our currency instead of keeping it pegged, but can you help us out with these tariffs? You're gonna fucking kill us, and it's either that or we go to war. And I think there's an incentive for both sides to work together to be able to prevent their economies from falling apart, and really strongly on both sides. We can do it without them, but I think we can do it a lot better with them, and I think they have a massive incentive to do it. So I think there's a lot of good stuff that can happen, and there's some headwinds in front of us. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of good stuff. Anyway, I think I'm going to end it here, guys. How will refinancing debt affect TLT? It could drag it down. I wouldn't have all your money in it. It depends on how well does Doge do? How well does Trump do? How well do our companies do? How well does Tesla do? Are people excited about the future? I think they're going to get more and more excited as time goes on, not less. And so I think if you're more and more excited, then what are you going to have? You're going to have it to where companies are going to be excited and investing in stocks and doing these other things. And you're going to have people getting excited about the United States. And who wouldn't want to buy our fucking defense bonds if they're going to be cheaper than having to defend yourself? I don't know. I think there's a lot of really good things that can happen. Ford CEO interview where he mentions how legacy auto is in trouble. Yeah, that was a great one. Really great video. This came in from X. I'll pull it up on the screen here real quick. I'm actually going to share this because it is a great video. I'll share this out so you guys can see it on my X profile right now. But he literally just talks about the fact that legacy auto is being crushed by China and Tesla. And if they don't innovate and change soon, they're going to die. And he's right. Do you have an Apple Vision Pro? I do not. I probably wouldn't want to wear it on my head. Ford CEO interview where he mentions, yeah, that's great. Open interest. Do you have an Apple Vision Pro? Do you like it? Andy Zhao, Trudeau announcing that he's resigning in half an hour from now. Is he? Good. Fuck him. That doesn't surprise me at all. But yeah, guys, I think today's probably going to be a good day. The dollar's still falling. Again, I think people are going to get more optimistic about the future, not less. And I think you got to understand MicroStrategy. Watch that video. That is your homework, guys. Watch that video. Listen to this guy talk about the bond side of how much demand and how innovative and how brilliant what Michael Saylor is doing. And you're going to be probably a lot more confident on owning MicroStrategy, at least over the next 6 months. So again, it's so much to look forward to, guys. We're getting rid of Justin Trudeau. We're getting rid of Macron. We're getting rid of Keir Starmer. We're changing Western civilization and bringing it back from the brink. We've got brilliant people in power. Trump's got the votes for everything. Don't listen to traditional media telling you that Elon Musk and him are going to be breaking up soon. Fucking Elon's literally living in his hotel. He's next to him like all the time. They're becoming brothers. So they're becoming family. They take family photos with the fucking guy. So just pay attention to what's real and ignore the bullshit. And if you do that, you're going to be much better off financially and mentally, and have a positive attitude, because the markets have been telling you for 16 fucking years to have a positive attitude. And that if you do that, you make money. And if you don't, you lose it. You lose it because the government prints it away, and you don't want that. Real quickly, I'm going to see if I can find a video super fast here that I love. Just give me 1 second. I got to go to my playlist for it because it's been so long since I played it. But this is a video that speaks to my soul. 1 second here. Let me just... Oh, not that one. This is one that speaks to my soul and that I love dearly. It's called Reality. And it just does a good job talking about how broken fiat is and how it needs to be replaced and what the world can be without it. And I truly believe this to be true. I love you guys. I will talk to you later. Have a good rest of your day, okay? Peace out.
With time, a seed becomes a tree, sheltering us. With time, a skill becomes a talent, empowering us. With time, a technology becomes a tool, enhancing us. By nature, time gives value to almost everything, yet the very thing our society gives value to, our money, loses value over time. This paradox warps our reality by defying the laws of nature, and it stems from the belief that $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow, meaning money must always lose value. We built our reality off of this model. Time value of money, we call it, but in reality, this is just dogma. Since we can keep making more of it, we end up destroying our own purchasing power. So we put it in stocks, put it in bonds, put it in land, put it in funds, put it in crypto, put it in gold. But we are not oracles, so what do we know? We know that it's hard to get by. We know some people may never retire. Is time value of money a lie since it discounts the monetary value of our time? If time is money, how are they moving in different directions? We're working longer for less, we end up just giving away our freedom. Give up liberty for policies, give up our agency to the authorities, because when our foundations objectify value, we divorce action from consequence. We defy the law of physics, we make scarcity infinite. We disregard the language of mathematics. So our systems are built in a fallacy, our society is based in a fantasy. In the absence of truth, we're living in the shadows of our own reality, and that's the root problem. Man-made rules can be broken. As our trust crumbles, so does the progress of our civilization. But one thing remains constant: no one can cheat nature. So why not use it to architect a stronger base layer? The most beautiful buildings engineered based on these consequences. Natural law drives rigor needed to build something enduring, and compromising on principles that accounts for the flaws, because when our lives are at stake, the gravity of truth cannot be ignored. So if our monetary systems were designed like structures, it would embody energy and matter, so the money itself matters. An unbreakable limit enforced by costliness of creation ensures the structure holds value for many generations. A rule-based system governed by maths builds a transparent ecosystem that can self-error correct. With no one in charge, no words are taken as fact. Only work from computation can actualize truth of timestamps, and like water flowing off a cliff down the path of gravity, computational energy makes time flow one way only. It is this irreversibility which gives value to our money by upholding consensus and scarcity to create one shared reality. Now the map is the territory. Now we're working with high fidelity. Now money is truthfully time and energy bound by finality. Now we have the ability to manifest each of our dreams and build a world that is much more reflective of all of our needs. And that's the purpose of money. Merely a tool to shape our reality, merely a function to harness and express individuality, just a way to live freely, just a means for possibility. Because when we build on integrity, we enhance the beauty of humanity. The most beautiful societies are built from diversity of our thoughts that come to life when we're empowered individually. Because when our money tomorrow is worth more than today, we shift from predicting to creating the future ourselves. And when our money grows in value, we grow grow thoughtful in how we use it. Natural law drives rigor needed to fund something enduring, something truly worth it. Something that pushes the sky's limit, something only possible now real value and consequence exists in boundless virtual dimensions. Imagine potential creations, fueled by monetary life force, lasting for many generations. We will venture into new territories and unleash these possibilities once we learn to embrace the truth of our reality.
Thank you guys. Love you. See you.